overall, you look at some of the guys in our lineup, and that's been their struggle, is just production on the fastball. It's not a secret, and guys continue to ramp that up against us, and we have to figure out a way to combat it and start to move that forward. So, yeah, it's a live arm, good secondary stuff, and he did well against us, but it's mainly his stuff was good, but also just our overall production collectively as a club against the fastballs needs to improve.
That was Ollie Marmol after the game last night alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. It is 11:07. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler.
And by the way, I was telling
11:07:40 to be exact.
We almost got it 11:08 like we were predicting. I was just joking with Jackson and T-Bone. Like, I don't know what they were talking about, but this is Doug's tabs on his computer. The MLB standings, NBA standings, Brent Musburger's Wikipedia account, Grown-Ups 2 IMDb, Chad Johnson's Wikipedia account, and Google Maps of the United States.
Well, they did have Chad Ochocinco on.
I do know that.
That one I got.
I do know that. The other ones, I'd like to know why you Google mapped the United States.
So you can always just look where you want to go.
They had to have been talking about Grown-Ups too.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
As one does on August 28th, 2025. To be fair, I don't know what else you're talking about, because as we just heard from Ollie Marmol,
the Cardinals
can't even hit fastballs. And T-Bone, what do you say about teams that can't hit the fastball?
They suck.
Oh, whoa. I don't think that was exactly what you said prior to the show.
Well, you didn't have to go that aggressive.
Okay, fine. I'll translate it to what I think I said in the office. Hey, if you don't have guys that hit fastballs, what really your manager's saying is we just don't have the dudes, right? We don't have enough great players.
I mean, isn't that something that this is somebody who can't even hit a lobbed softball to them to try and hit it 50 feet in front of them. Isn't that like kind of the standard?
Yeah.
To time out the fastball, and that's the pitch you do damage on?
All right, can I do the nerdy thing again here?
I mean, please, because
my glasses.
I am dumb in this sense. I don't know ball, Alex, as people would say.
I would say this. 10, 20, 50, 30 years ago, I agree with what T-Bone's saying. I think fastballs have changed so much, both in velocity and shape, that I'm not sure that I necessarily feel the same way today. I think a lot of teams struggle against 95-plus mile-an-hour fastballs. Otherwise, we wouldn't see the strikeout numbers the way that they are right now in Major League Baseball. We would continue seeing more of the 300 hitters, because that's what guys made a career out of, is, hey, I hit fastballs. That low and away stuff, the change-ups, like all of that is really difficult. Those are the off-speed. Those are the secondaries. But the fastball is where I make my money. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I think some guys can make a career out of hitting the breaking ball. But anyways, fastball velo above 95 miles an hour this year. The Cardinals are quite bad against them. There's no doubt about that. 228 average, 371 slugging percentage. They're typically in the bottom 10 in most of these production metrics against Major League Baseball fastballs. Again, above 95-plus miles an hour. Alex, if you want to get super nerdy about it, their expected numbers are better than that. I tried to understand why there is such a disconnect in these numbers before the show today. I basically came out with a big shrug emoji.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Even the nerd can't get it.
Might have something to do with Busch Stadium and the way that it's playing this year.
Bring the fences
I don't know, but they're not good against fastballs. They're just not a good team. T-Bone is right on that. I looked at this up before the show today. The Cardinals had a really great month of May. This is when T-Bone was buying in. He said, hey, pitch to contact, I don't love it. But look at the defense. They can keep this up. And I was like, T-Bone,
what an idiot.
To keep it up, it would have to be not only the greatest defense in the history of baseball, but like double the next best team that we've ever seen.
We all fall
I don't know ball.
We all fall for it.
The Cardinals were 19-6 from May 4th until May 31st. 19-6. The rest of the season, they are 46-63. To put that in context, Alex, that is a .422 winning percentage, which would be a 68 win pace over the course of the full season. If you just want to put this in draft terms, if you look at the teams that are worse than you, .422 winning percentage, that are eligible for the Major League Baseball draft lottery next year, it's just one. It's the Chicago White Sox. So the Cardinals had a really nice 25-game stretch where they were the best team in baseball, and other than that, they've been one of the 3 to 5 worst teams in the sport this year. That's more telling of where you're at right now than that 25-game stretch was, unfortunately.
You want to revisit our conversation the other day of 95 losses
Well,
being
it's a
realistic?
94 loss
Oh, okay.
pace.
So that's not 95, T-Bone. It's not 95. It's only 94. It's not as bad. I mean, look, I can't shame T-Bone for believing it because I believed it as well. All of us believed it. And
I did not. I did not believe in this pitching staff.
Maybe not the defense being this good, but we all believed they could be a playoff team.
I did believe in the offense, and up until, what was it, like July 20th, we all believed in them as at least like potentially a buyer. And then
until the Pirates said, hey, you're not scoring a run for 3 games. And even then, we were
even
like,
prior to that, it was like, I don't know about this. Anyway, like the opposite of the cream always rises to the top. Negatively, the cream always rises to the top. And I think that's what you're seeing from the Cardinals. I do agree with the fastball sentiment that Tebow mentioned. I think this tells you that you just don't have guys on this roster that you could look at and you'd be like, these are members of the future of the Cardinals. Meaning, like, these aren't the guys that are going to solve the problems that they have suffered from the last 3 or 4 years. Frankly, it's going to have to be a little bit of what the Boston Red Sox did, where there was just like a clean sweep of bringing in a whole new group of players that led them out of the darkness. And look, it might not be the worst thing in the world for the Cardinals to be this bad the rest of the way. It might not be the worst thing in the world for you to get beat by the Pirates, beat by the Rays. Hell, when the Athletics roll into town, you probably should start finding ways to lose those games, because where you're at as a organization and how this has gone and the group of players that we're starting to see realistic runway on, we can finally stop using that word. These just aren't the guys. You're going to have to start finding new ones, and the best way to do it, if you're going to be bad, is to start drafting high.
Yeah, and for their offense, when you don't hit the fastball, look, hitting a breaking ball is going to be even tougher than hitting the fastball. And I think what Ali Marmol said there last night was, hey, we just don't have the dudes in our lineup, and that's why you see numbers that have dropped off a cliff for them since May. And I'm frustrated at myself, not so much the Cardinals, that I fell for a team that pitched to contact even though they played great defense.
Good on you, man. Take
and the fact that they didn't slug at all.
Yeah.
They were just single you to death, which was not a formula that was going to work out. That's where they are going to have to find their improvement from the offensive standpoint. Pitching, and man, we got a while. But offensively, they're going to have to find ways to do damage, because it's one thing to struggle hitting for average against a fastball. You can live with that if you're not hitting for average, if you're doing damage on the fastball still, right? If you're slugging the baseball, then you're going to ultimately end up being fine, because that's what matters the most, is are you doing damage when you make contact? And the Cardinals don't do that enough when they see fastball, breaking ball, changeup, name the pitch.
So, T-Bone, I just put something in the Daily Show audio folder for today. It is a sounder. If you don't mind grabbing that for us real quick, we'll go ahead and throw to it, because Alex mentioned the benefit of what is happening right now is that you might be able to get a better player in next year's draft. T-Bone?
I swear. They already made their pick?
We have an update on the Major League Baseball draft simulator for the lottery. The Cardinals are up to number 9, ladies and gentlemen. We've done it. We cracked into the top 10.
Woo-hoo! Lottery time!
Woo-hoo!
And we all know that sports lottery drafts are rigged, so the Cardinals will probably get a top 3 pick.
You are only a half game back right now of the Tampa Bay Rays for the number 8 selection. You are 2.5 games back, Alex, of the Don't Call Me Sacramento, We Are Just the Athletics baseball team. And guess what? Next week, Monday night. Monday afternoon, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Threw me off there a little bit. We play on Monday afternoon.
It's Labor Day.
It's Labor Day.
Still.
You're off on Labor Day, too.
Yeah, you forgot it was Labor Day, didn't you?
Sure did. Monday afternoon, Labor Day, which I will not be here for. 1:15. T-Bone's going to have a fantastic...
Yeah, you'll be able to hear Ali Marmol.
Yeah.
In the Last Minute Blues podcast? No,
just Ali.
No, I think it's a short one.
Only 30
short
minutes.
best of show here on BK and Ferrario on Monday afternoon, Labor Day, when the Cardinals are playing at 1:15, Sonny Gray on the mound. The Athletics on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. If you get swept, you could pass them for the 7th overall pick.
And let's just celebrate September, because like it's butt kicking month, ladies and gentlemen. Other than the Giants, you get the Mariners, Milwaukee twice, the Cubs. Oh, man, what a month it will be.
Big series against San Francisco. You guys are only separated by a half game right now in the standings.
You think what I'm thinking? Palante, you
got
start 3.
6 games down the stretch against San Francisco. You got 3 against the Athletics, who are right there as well. Woo! You did your job against Atlanta. You lost 2 out of 3 there. You did your job against the Tampa Bay Rays. You lost 2 out of 3 there. I think the Cardinals are heading in the right direction, Alex. They unfortunately did not get the job done against the Miami Marlins. They won 2 out of 3 there. You can't have it. This time of the year, you got to be better.
And other than Alec Burleson swinging for the fences in game number 1, we could be staring down a sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Gator says, do not bring up JJ.
Don't bring up. Make sure Fermin is here. Probably go down.
Siani get a call up for September?
Siani? Is there any other infielders that we could call up? Because Wynn should probably head to the IL. Herrera might need a little bit of extra time off. And if I'm Wilson, don't appeal the suspension anymore.
Actually, right now, with the way that Ivan Herrera's been hitting for about a month, keep him in the lineup.
But he's hurt, you know?
Same thing for Wynn.
A hurt Herrera or a healthy Fermin? I'll take the healthy Fermin every day of the week.
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
6 to 1, half a dozen the other.
Yeah.
Play Pozo at second base.
I would just go with
Pages at short.
He's got the natural instincts for the position.
Okay,
He's
fine.
fielding 1,000.
Pages at short.
Cool.
Let's put Contreras back behind the plate.
Sounds great.
Let's get wild with this thing.
I mean, honestly, on the pitching side of things, let's see Burleson.
No, if the pitching side of things,
stretch him out.
No, pitching side par for the course. Let's just keep this bad boy rolling. Sonny Gray, you might need a little extra time off.
You need to work to.
Aaron Wilkerson's
going to
get a call
the
up.
schedule for this athletic series for Libby, Michaelis, Palante.
Yeah, Palante. I know we said you're done after this, but you know what, big boy. Roll back out there. You got 6 more weeks.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. Coming up to 15 minutes, we'll get into NFL quick hitters. We have Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback. T-Bone looked it up earlier today. Said, "Who's this coach that was with Aaron Murray at Georgia?"
First question.
Mark Richt.
That's your first question to him?
The head coach from the Georgia Bulldogs. Aaron Murray will join us coming up at 12 o'clock. He's on the call tonight as the Missouri Tigers are back in action, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big one.
I'm just so happy. We've got something else to watch other than the Cardinals.
Bo Pribula in action against... Who are they playing tonight, Alex?
Central Arkansas,
Central
man.
Arkansas. What's their mascot?
I made a dog noise, so I'm going to call them the Wolverines.
I have no idea what their mascot
Let's
is.
find out.
I think they're the Bears.
That sounds
Bears. They're the Bears.
Okay. And do you know a famous alum from Central Arkansas? Can you name one?
No, but I can name the mascot. His name is Bruce D. Bear.
I like that.
What's the D stand for?
Duh.
That was mean. Okay, well, let's go through the alumni here.
No. I want T-Bone to give me one.
I have no idea.
Basketball player.
Basketball.
Yeah. Famous Robin to somebody else's Batman. It's part of a document. Yeah, there we go.
Am I right?
Scotty went to Central Arkansas.
How about that?
That is indeed correct.
Dale Alford went there. Charlie Strong.
Charlie Strong also went there. Yep.
Jacob Ford, football player. And Chris Allen, musical artist.
There you go.
Great song.
So we will talk to Aaron Murray about Mizzou versus Central Arkansas.
You think
we'll see if he can name any famous alumni from the Central Arkansas Bears coming up at 12 o'clock. But next, what would have to go wrong for the Blues to end up here in the standings? Let's talk about it here on BK and Ferrario. Alex, today we came in and we all asked each other, what are we going to talk about today? And then T-Bone said, hey, you see Jay Fresh's tweet? And I said, nope, which one? He said, the one where the Blues suck. And I said, all right, let's talk about it.
Of course, T-Bone.
So that's what we're going to do. Jay
Why
Fresh is a guy on Twitter.
It's when the Blues, they expect them to be bad. You guys just like to get me angry. And you know what? You can't do it anymore.
He's a hockey nerd like myself, and he looks at all the projections and then puts them out there on Twitter. He posted the following. Here's his Central Division projection for the 2025 season. Dallas finishing with 109 points. Colorado with 104 points. Utah with 94 points. Winnipeg with 93 points. Those are your 4 Central Division playoff teams. He then has Minnesota with 92, Nashville with 87, Chicago with 74. The Blues fit in with 87 points, second to last in the division, tied with the Nashville Predators. Alex, you asked the following question. I'll have you answer it. What would have to go wrong for the Blues to end up in that position in the division?
I don't even think this is realistic, but what would have to go wrong is a significant injury to basically 2 or 3 of their best players. Their goaltending has to suck for them to be that bad. Or your defense has to regress to what it was 3 years ago, which is why I just find this laughable. Like, he's got Buffalo at 93 points, a team that has missed the playoffs for the last 17 years, and the Blues at 87. I understand the Central Division is tough, but when I look at their
By the way, I'm saying you can't say injuries because he can't account for injuries in something like this.
But that's how unrealistic.
Outside of injuries.
That's how unrealistic it is to me. But, I mean, outside of injuries, I don't see how your offense could put you in that position because you've got depth from top to bottom. It would have to be Cam Fowler turns back into Anaheim Ducks Cam Fowler. Colton Parayko turns back into bad back Parayko. Falk's not good. Broberg's not good. Like, your 6 defensemen would have to be a liability every time they stepped on the ice, and Jordan Binnington would have to be unable to see pucks coming at him. That's how unrealistic I think this is to be an 87-point team for how they performed last year.
Yeah, I think if they're going to get to that spot, I think it would be like there's a miss / a regression back more towards the norm, if you would call it, like Dylan Holloway. Doesn't end up being the guy that we saw last year. He ends up kind of regressing back to like the Edmonton Oilers version of Dylan Holloway. And Philip Broberg is kind of bad defensively and has a step back, along with like Logan Mailloux ends up being like a huge liability even as a third pair defenseman. And Tucker's not the same guy that you saw last year. And then I think the other thing that would have to happen is they ended up being wrong on their Pius Suter signing. Like, they believe Pius Suter is a guy that can come in, and anytime they talk about him, they think he's going to be like either the second line center or the 2B center, to where he can kind of alternate between that spot with Braden Shen. And instead of getting 46 points out of him, they get like the 24-point version of Pius Suter when he was in Detroit. Like,
so you mean like what they got last year out of their number 3 center and Oscar Sundqvist, who had 20 points and was a -6 on the year?
Exactly.
But they were a 90-plus point team with that version.
Yeah, again, I would love to. I'd love to just have a conversation with him and be like, "What in your projections
here's where I think
did
it would
this?"
be a little different. Is you would have Suter there. Bukestad is what he was last year as a winger, and that you lose production on one of those wings on the third line compared to the 20 goals Bolduc gave you. And then you have just kind of Jake Neighbors in there as well, and Snuggerud doesn't end up being the guy you expect on the first line.
Comparison to whoever that player is, that player would be the comparison to Texier/Joseph. The comparison to Bolduc would be Snuggerud in this scenario that you're presenting. And so that's why, like, I think what would have to happen is threefold. One, Snuggerud is a liability. He's just, like, people see the tape from what he was at the end of last season, and they take advantage of him, and they eat him alive over the course of a full season. That's one. Two, Kyrou regresses to what he was prior to last season. Terrible defensively, doesn't have the same chemistry with his line, goes out there, produces 25 to 30 goals. The assist numbers are maybe still there, but overall, instead of being a +23 the way that he was last year, maybe he's a -15 this season. And so there's huge regression defensively, not only from him, but from his line. And maybe that's because they had to put Holloway on that top line to make up for the regression that we see from Snuggerud. And so now you've got a second line that's just not working. And maybe part of that is Pius Suter, as T-Bone was mentioning. And then the third thing, and this is maybe the most important, the division just has to be awesome. Like, this is something that maybe we don't take into account enough. Sometimes you as a team can improve. Like, I think this is going to happen in the AFC West this year. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to be much better than they were a year ago. And the more that I look into this, I would love to pick them to make the playoffs this year. And if they were in the AFC South, I might even pick them to win that division. But because they're in the AFC West, and I think the Chargers got a little better, I think the Broncos got a little better, I do think the Chiefs are going to be slightly better than they were in the regular season last year. I think the Raiders might still win like 7 games this year, and that would be a huge improvement for them. So maybe that's what's happening here, Alex, is they view it as the rest of the division is taking a significant step forward, and that means even if the Blues get slightly better, by points, they get a decent amount worse. That would be the case that I would have to make for. I don't think this is likely.
Yeah.
I would argue against what they're saying, but to argue devil's advocate, that would be my case.
Yeah, and I mean, like what they were against the Central Division last year was 14-10-2, and take into consideration what they were in the first chunk of games versus when Jim Montgomery took over. Even then, and we don't have to dig into the weeds too much on that, that's just hard for me to believe, because although everyone looks at the Central Division as difficult, I still see holes in a lot of these teams. Like Minnesota didn't upgrade from where they were. In fact, they downgraded from where they were last year because they lost a couple of players. Utah may have gotten better in certain spots, but their goaltending is still a liability. Nashville didn't do anything. Winnipeg lost some pieces. Colorado lost some pieces. Like, I just, when I saw that projection, I'm like, man, the world would have to explode for the Blues to be that bad. You would have to have all of those scenarios you just mentioned, and those aren't or scenarios. Those are and scenarios. Like, you'd have to have 4 or 5 scenarios to go wrong for this team to be that bad.
Yeah, I think that's fair, because I agree. I don't see this happening. And I don't know about the division being that much better, because like Utah's one that they're high on. I'm tired of doing
They were last year.
I'm tired of doing the song and dance with the Utah Hockey Club or Mammoths or whatever the hell they are now. But I think this isn't likely for the Blues, but I think it does require what you're saying, BK. I think it requires like 3 or 4 things to go wrong, because they don't have like one piece where things have to just really go awry for things to really fall off. And for most of these, like, I just don't see those happening. Like the Snuggers one, I can see where maybe you look at him as a liability.
Totally.
But even if like you remove Holloway from Kairou's line, I still don't think there's going to be such a regression in Kairou's game to where it would be something that is so significant that you really kind of fall off of a cliff.
I can't predict that. That's my difficulty with this. Even if I think it's possible, it's a very low outcome probability. And the other thing here is, like, the Blues could go through injuries that make this possible.
Yeah.
But so could the Colorado Avalanche. What happens if Nathan McKinnon misses 50 games this year, right? Like that team ceases to be what they have been. Or what if for the Winnipeg Jets this year, Connor Hellebuck for the first time in like 6 years actually misses significant time? Well, they're not the Jets anymore, and now maybe they finish 6th in the division instead of 1st in the division, right? But you can't predict that, because none of us can predict injury. It's impossible, because it's just as likely, hey, Booch was hurt last year. We didn't know how significantly it was affecting him, and now he comes back and is like the player that he was 2 to 3 years ago, right? That's every bit as likely as the Blues going through these torturous injury situations. So I think it's unlikely. I would still view the Blues as a 90 to 95 point producing type of a team, and they have the potential to be even better than that. So I understand the projections. They're much lower on many of the young players, I would assume, for the Blues than what we are here locally. But I disagree with them. I think the Blues are much more likely to finish with 95 points than 85 points.
Yeah, I think anything with these projections is just the uncertainty for a few players on the team. Like, the projections can't expect what Mayu is going to be, or Snuggerud is going to be, or even guys like Nick Bukestad or Pius Suter, because how good they weren't that beyond just one season. Like, 2 seasons of Pius Suter was just an average player. Bukestad, minus 1 year where he put up, 20-something goals, he's a 3-goal performer. So those are all question marks, which I get, but the hard part for me with the projections is they're also not taking into consideration what happened with the coaching change, with a guy that has an impact, and that's just stuff that you won't find out until the season begins.
He is Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. In 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get any of your questions in. We will answer them in 15 minutes. But next, time for some NFL quick hitters here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals fell to the Pirates last night 2-1. Game 4 of their 4-game set is this afternoon. 1:15 will be first pitch. Miles Michaelis will be on the mound for St. Louis. The Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Alex, I'm starting some of my over-under pools for the 2025 season. I don't know if you guys do any of these, but one of them that I do, basically the way that it works, before the start of the season, you have to pick an over or an under for the win total for each team in the NFL.
I was confused as to what it was, so.
I wanted to make sure that for anybody that's not familiar with the gambling parlance, I explained it for them. I apologize if that was too much for you, Alex.
I just,
There are very few teams that I feel very, very certain about. There's one that I keep circling back to, though, because you have to do your top 5 tiebreakers where I am confident these will go either over or under. My number one team in that regard is the New Orleans Saints going under 4.5 wins.
You're not confident in that, or you are?
I am confident in that.
That would be my number one.
See, this is why we have explainers, because you got confused right there.
No, I needed him to explain if he was or if he wasn't. That'd be number one.
Are they the team that you feel like you don't have to spend a second watching this year?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that you would put into that bucket? Because I feel like I don't need to watch any of the Saints this year once they announce their quarterback, and frankly, even before. I have no interest. This season is lost for them. I already know that, and it's about who are you going to select with the top 5 pick in 2026.
I think
Are there any other teams that fit into that category?
Cleveland, but until they move on from Flacco, I'm done. Like the moment they say we're going to go with either Gabriel or Sanders, then I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I'm still.
Like the Jets probably are one for me. I don't need to see anything.
See?
You don't have a quarterback still.
He likes Justin Fields.
I don't think he's the answer.
I know. And that's why I have no interest. I know where this is headed.
I still think I want to see what the foundation looks like in New York. You guys remember that first year under Dan Campbell in Detroit? I want to see what it looks like in New York because I do think they have some interesting pieces. Defensively, I think on the offensive side of the ball, they've clearly got a number one receiver. They've got a legit running back. I want to see what their offense looks like with Justin Fields. I think he can create something that's interesting where it kind of sneaks up on teams. Like they could beat the Bills in a game this year. Not because I think they're a better team than the Bills, but because they've just got a weird offense and maybe Justin Fields runs for 170 yards that day. So I'm not totally out on them just yet. Like their over-under is 6.5.
Under.
I
wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't think they won.
Going back to the Saints of viewers, I don't think they win a game.
To me, there's a couple things. Like, I could just care less to watch this year. Like, they're in that list, the Jets.
The Jets, okay.
I agree with that. Cleveland, for me.
Can I give you one?
Yeah.
Steelers. They might go over. They might win 9 games.
I'm interested in that just because I want to see the Aaron Rodgers effect.
I'm not. I'm with BK.
I love soap operas, so I'll take that one.
Oh, boy, do I not want to watch them this year.
I guess
I've got another one for you.
Is
Indy?
it the Giants?
Yeah. Indy.
Oh, Indy.
What the hell do I need to learn about them?
Mine's also
Daniel Jones? Like, no. This isn't going to work. Everybody's going to get fired. They're going to win 7 games.
Mine's also the Giants.
I agree with that one, too.
Yeah, like I don't care about this whole Jackson Dart hype. I don't care.
I want to watch them with Jackson Dart. Because I want to see if Dable can fight.
I don't think they have anything else around them, so I don't find that.
Neighbors is stud.
Neighbors is fine,
Neighbors
but
is really good. And they might have the best defensive line in the NFL this year. And defensive lines can win you some games.
I think they win 4 games, maybe.
Okay, well, their over-under is 5.5.
So I'd take the under. Carolina's another one that I'm just not all that interested. I know Bryce Young made strides last year, but I'm just not that interested.
I'm interested in Bryce. I want to see if that was real.
Yeah.
He had like a 6-game stretch late in the season last year where he looked like Baker Mayfield. And if he can become Baker Mayfield at this point, I think Carolina Panthers fans should be thrilled with that. Like a top 15-ish quarterback in the league.
All of these teams that I just mentioned, the only interest I'm going to pay to them is if I have a player on my fantasy team from that team. Honestly,
even then.
And I don't even know, maybe I'm getting too aggressive with this. Arizona's another one. I'm kind of done with the Kyler Murray experience, and I don't need to see it anymore. They've got some fun weapons with Marvin Harrison Jr. They've got some fun weapons on defense. They've got a good coach. I just don't think they got the quarterback, and I'm done with it.
Guess the win total real quick?
Yeah.
What do you think the win total is for the Arizona Cardinals?
Did you see the disgust on his face there?
I wasn't even going to acknowledge it.
8.
I was thinking either 8.5 or 7.5.
If it was set at 8.5, I think
go
I would.
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, I'd go 8.5.
It is.
Well, would you go over or under?
Well, that's what I was
how we
saying.
play the game.
Thanks for explaining.
I would go under. I think about 7 is where I think.
Yeah, what worries me is like Kyler goes off for a few games, so I'd probably go over, but I think it's 9, and that's it.
I'm going under because of the division, but the more that I read about the Rams, I'm going under on them as well at 9.5.
I'm with you there.
That division, San Francisco's going to win that godforsaken division again.
No.
Our over-under's at 10.5, man.
San Fran?
I'd take the under on that, too.
I would, too. I think they're about a 9-10 win team. They're not
10.5
11
for
plus.
San Fran, 9.5 for the
Seattle?
Rams, 8.5 for Seattle and for Arizona. I would go over, I think, on Seattle.
I think I'd go on. Yeah, I'd probably go over on
I would
Seattle.
probably go over on Seattle and
Somebody
the Rams.
has to go over.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
You
I
go
were to
over on
pick
the
out of the
Rams.
two, yeah,
I'm just so worried about the quarterback
I think they're
situation.
10, 11
And
wins.
Their defensive backfield, dude.
Hey, don't worry about it. We're going to get to the quarterback.
They better.
if McCaffrey stays healthy, I can see San Fran doing it before the Rams. But both I'm playing injury into this one because I don't trust Stafford to stay healthy all season.
All right, another thing that I was thinking about here. This doesn't necessarily matter for over-unders because, like, you have to choose a side. Who do you guys think is the team this year that has the widest range of outcomes? Like, you could see them winning 11 games or you could see them winning 4 games, depending on what happens. Is there a team this year in the NFL that, in your opinion, has that kind of a range of outcomes?
I've got 2.
I've got one, and I don't believe it, but I think it's possible. Detroit. Is that one of yours?
Oh, no. It's in the both of mine are in that division.
Packers and Bears?
No.
No, not Packers.
Yeah, that's what
mine
I
is
thought.
Bears.
Vikings and Bears?
I don't like love, but I don't have that wide of a range. It's Bears and Vikings. Because I could see if McCarthy is like the guy that they drafted him to be. Look at you want to talk about pieces in an offense and then the defense to go along with it. I could totally see where they're right back to like 12 to 14 wins. But I could also see where McCarthy stinks because he hasn't played football in a year. And it turns out they were wrong. He got carried by the running backs at Michigan, and they end up being a team that's like a 6-win team. And then I think it's the same for the Bears. You know, Caleb Williams, we talk all about, we talked about this with Shador last week or on Monday, BK. Everybody talks about, the O-line was the reason Caleb Williams was getting crushed last year back there. Caleb Williams also holds onto the ball for a really freaking long time, and he can't dance around the big boys here at the NFL like he could in college. So there's a chance that they are this team that Ben Johnson gets the best out of him. He gets the ball out of his hands quicker. They are the team that gets to about 12 to 14 wins. Or they're the same freaking team because Caleb Williams holds on to the football too damn long.
I'm going to stick in the NFC South. The Bucs and the Falcons are my 2 teams. I don't know what to make of either of them. Michael Penix Jr. might just be really good. It's entirely possible. Penix has a cannon of an arm. He's got a couple of interesting weapons. The defense is not very good. That's one of my big concerns. And what if Penix isn't good? If Penix is not great and he has some interception problems this year, which would be totally understandable for a young quarterback, they could easily win 6 games, 5 games. But if he is good, that offense performs up to expectations, and the defense takes a small step forward, in that division, they could win 10 or 11. The Bucs are similar to me. Baker's now losing an offensive coordinator for the 2nd consecutive season. He's now going to have to make it work 3 consecutive years with 3 different offensive coordinators, and Chris Godwin's hurt. They just lost Jalen McMillan as well. They've got some injury issues right now on the offensive line. That defense has not been the same over the last couple of seasons. If they take a step back defensively, Baker isn't quite the same guy, in part because of the weapons not being what they were a year ago, and the running game is just average. All right, yeah, you could win 6 games. Or if things work out offensively for them, they could be what they were last year, which is a 10-win season. So those would be my 2. Alex, who's yours?
I'll go in the AFC because I got one from the North and the South. The Steelers are one for me because I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers, but if they get it right, and with Kenneth Walker and with that defense, I think that team could win 10 or 11 games, but I also think that team could win like 4 or 5 if Aaron Rodgers is just god-awful. And then the Texans are another one for me.
I don't see the upside for them.
I see the upside because of the offense and the weapons that they have. The downside, of course, is 4 or 5 wins looking awful. But I think the upside is winning that division with 10, maybe 11 wins if Nico Collins stays healthy, if C.J. Stroud can figure it out, because they've got difference makers on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. The defense could be really, really good this year. That is one thing that could potentially.
And they got rid of Stephon Diggs, which I kind of wonder if that was a problem.
He barely
itself.
played for them last year.
Yeah, but he's still a locker room problem.
Did you put the Bengals in this or no? Because they're one that I kind of went back and forth on.
I don't
I
think
just
the
don't see the
downside.
upside.
See, I think the upside is if the defense is like average, they should be.
Oh, see, I see
But I
the
see
upside.
no scenario where they're good defensively.
I see it.
Or
I
average.
don't see the downside. I don't think they could be a 4-win
That's
team.
fair. The offense
that's-
keeps them.
The offense is going to keep them at
That's why-
500.
8 wins.
Yeah, that's why. And to me, it's not so much the upside; it was more the downside that I was having trouble with. Because I don't know what I think the downside is what they were last year, like 9 and 8. Defensively, like that stuff changes so often and so quickly that they could end up being average, which would be better
I've
than we
watched them in the
expect.
preseason, and I know you shouldn't take much from the preseason. Their starters are getting beat by backups. It's every bit as bad as it was.
Because they're
a year
not
ago, if
showing their
worse.
full playbook yet.
They better not be. Coming up in 15 minutes, Aaron Murray, ESPN's college football analyst. He'll be on the call tonight for Mizzou versus the Central Arkansas Bears. We'll talk to Aaron Murray about that coming up in 15 minutes. But next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, questions and answers here on 101 ESPN. We'll have our questions for Aaron Murray of ESPN coming up in about 10 minutes. He'll talk to us about what he's anticipating for Mizzou football this year. We'll expand a little bit for the SEC overall as well. I want to get his thoughts. As a former quarterback that spent a number of years as the starter at Georgia, what is he expecting this year from Arch Manning? I feel like unless he is like the best quarterback that we've seen in the last decade in college football, people are going to be disappointed, which feels odd, but that's how high the expectations are going in.
I forget who the guest was, but there was a guy on Feinbaum's show that I saw who was talking about it and says, look, the talent doesn't match the hype.
It was Jordan, or Jordan Rogers.
Is that who it was? Yeah, I watched it and I was like, oh, damn. Firing on all angles. But, you know,
I mean, we haven't really seen him play against the high-level competition, and he's starting things off this year against Ohio State.
And the hype is like, this guy's going to be the first overall pick in the draft, and it's like, man, Texas might be in for a rude awakening pretty early on in the season for what their matchups are.
And I think he's going to be good, but I think my reason to believe that he's going to be good is twofold. One, I liked what we saw from him last year in the brief outings that we did, and two, his last name. Like, let's be honest, I think that's so much about what, if his name was Arch Smith instead of Arch Manning, I don't think the hype would be where it is right now. Yeah. So it is exciting. It's a lot of fun. I'm curious to see what it looks like, but I'm going to be taking Ohio State this week, in part because I do think when you're going on the road with a quarterback with as little experience as he has against this high-level competition, it's hard, man. Mm-hmm. It's really hard. All right, let's get into it from the 314. Question with your predictions. How do you come up with your predictions, and does your stubbornness help you with your predictions? I'm assuming you're talking about
The over-under
for like
football?
over-under types of stuff. I come up with that based on research from the offseason, a lot of reading, my priors with the players. So, what did I think of them last year, whether that be at the college level or the NFL level? And then does my stubbornness help me with my predictions?
No.
I don't know. Probably not. But
I don't have, I feel like when we do our pick'em, I don't have stubbornness because I'm so bad at it at times to where it's like I can't be that.
T-Bone's the stubborn one of the three of us.
And T-Bone, to his credit, typically gets them right. So when he doesn't, we make it well known.
Be terrible this year.
I know. God, I hope he
That
loses
regression's
every
gonna
week.
hit like a
I
you know
hope he
what.
loses
No, it ain't
every
happening.
week. But yeah, I mean, mine is kind of looking at past, especially for the game matchups when we do our pick'em challenge. It's looking at the matchups, what they did in the prior weeks, but then it's also just a little bit of gut, which probably part of the reason why I lose sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys said. I am more stubborn on my stuff to where it takes a while for me to eventually come back to where if I was wrong on somebody, let's say I pick a team and I think, they're going to be over their 9.5 wins. It takes 4 weeks of me seeing them being bad to be okay, I'm going to change my opinion on that. But mine mostly, and I don't know how you guys feel. I go to your quarterback / your offense, and that helps drive my opinion of you. Even if I kind of question maybe your defense a little bit, I look at your offense and go, okay, what does your quarterback and what can he be a guy that can help kind of add an extra 2 wins because he is a stud?
No doubt. Yeah, that's quarterback and coach. If you follow those two things, especially for Super Bowl predictions, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. It's pretty rare that you get it completely wrong based upon that. All right, from the 314, you have the following options at second, short, and third going into next year. Who would you start? So JC, Donovan, Gorman, Wynn, Arenado, Weatherholt. Those 6 guys for 3 spots at second, short, and third. Who would you start? I said this yesterday on the show. I'm going to stick with it. Speaking of being stubborn, Gorman at second, Wynn at shortstop, Weatherholt at third would be my plan. If Weatherholt says, hey, I'm much more comfortable at second than third, I think Gorman has looked a lot better defensively at third lately. The first week was horrific, but since then it's been mostly fine. I'm fine flipping those 2, but those would be my 3 starters at those 3 positions.
Yeah, I think I agree with that one. The only one I can consider is if I just don't trust the Gorman and I stick with Donovan, but even if I don't trust it anymore, I just don't think they've got a good core, so I'd rather go with potential over certainty, and that would be Gorman. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Gorman. I would go Gorman third, Weatherholt second, Wynn at short because Gorman's looked better defensively at third. And if Weatherholt, I think he profiles more of an up the middle guy. But what I will find interesting for the Cardinals when it comes to that decision is, okay, 1, do you offload Arenado's contract? And 2, if we're going by hey, we'll just kind of move whichever guys have the most value to help clear this logjam up, Mason Wynn will have a ton of value. Would they be willing to part with the defense first mindset that they seem to carry and make Weatherholt the starting shortstop, and then you could have Donovan at second?
A little bit of news to pass along. This comes from John Denton. Cardinals third baseman Nolan Arenado, who's been working in Jupiter, will return to St. Louis in the coming days to have his right shoulder examined by team doctors. Then a determination will be made about whether or not a rehab assignment and a possible MLB return.
That sounds ominous.
You're probably, week and a half, 2 weeks away from a potential return? If he comes back, it's 15 games maybe, if that.
And at this point, you've had a decent stretch here,
Yeah.
getting to see these other guys.
I say you bring him back and play him at
Especially with
second.
Donovan on the IL, and it doesn't sound like he's particularly close to return either. Hey, you'll still see plenty of time. It's really JC that ends up probably getting removed from the lineup most likely. And whatever. This
Test
is
it
not
out with JC in the outfield. See what that looks
We
like.
have too many outfielders.
Put Arenado at second base.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. By the way, I'm guessing this is part of the decision with J.J. Weatherholt. If they knew that Arenado was relatively speaking close, it doesn't really make sense to bring him up for a 2-week stretch and then put him back down when you don't have to make that 40-man roster move otherwise, and you just keep him down in AAA. And my guess is, based upon this information, you're probably going to be keeping him down in AAA.
Yeah, and I also think you can also save up until Super 2 status. Why not?
Maybe.
Why not?
Dude, if they go into next season, and he had a crazy finish of the season, and then he goes into spring training and looks great in spring training as well, and
Who
then they
would
send him
they,
down. There is no real... The Cardinals haven't done that.
No.
There's no comparison point for that. Other teams have. The Cardinals,
I would do
generally
it in
speaking,
Tampa.
bring their guys in.
Who's going to be the face of ticket sales for next year?
Mason
It's
Wynn.
like if it's not J.J. Weatherholt because he's not here.
Win. Gold glove this year.
Wynn is currently your face of the franchise.
You're
It's
probably
Wynn
right.
and Contreras. Those are the two guys that
probably
right
the two.
now you
And if
would put.
Herrera wouldn't have struggled down the stretch, I think Herrera would have been it too.
Burley. as
Burley.
well. Burley has a personality, I think, that plays.
Burleson's like the new Newt Bar. To where you felt like you saw him
It's your new
everywhere.
big city.
Yeah. I think that-
He's Matt Adams.
Without the
typically
big
when you're
moment.
a guy that
High
sold
average.
tickets, though, right?
I know. I mean, Matt Adams was a supplementary piece. He was expected to be more in that like 2016
I think I meant Burleson's got the personality like Large Newt Bar did. To where like you saw Large everywhere, and I wonder if you're going to see that with Burleson.
I actually think, maybe I'm wrong here, I think Burleson has more personality than Newt did.
I think he's more quieter personality. What I mean, like, it just doesn't
Dry
feel...
sense of humor.
Yeah.
I don't think, I like talking to Newt, don't get me wrong. I don't think Newt necessarily had the personality publicly that people portrayed on him. A lot of it was just like he was doing the pepper grinder stuff, and he appeared to have a lot of energy with the way that he played. Like he brought energy to the field. And so I think we projected what his personality was based upon some of that stuff. Whereas I think Burleson doesn't necessarily play with that same energy that you see from Lars Nootbaar, but away from the field, I think he's got a little bit more personality than Newt did/does.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my personal opinion.
If
on that.
Donovan's here, I mean, they'll make Donovan the face of it too. Just the style that he plays.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Connor McDavid made some news yesterday with comments on whether or not he's going to sign a multi-year contract. It sure sounds like he's going to wait this thing out. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. One of the biggest storylines in the NHL this season will be McDavid's future in Edmonton. But coming up next, we're going to talk to Aaron Murray. He's an ESPN college football analyst. He's going to be on the call tonight for Mizzou versus Central Arkansas. We'll get his thoughts on the Missouri quarterback situation, how he views Arch Manning, one of the biggest storylines in college football this year, and the SEC overall, which has a ton of really high-level quarterbacks. We'll talk to Aaron Murray about all of that coming up next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Missouri starts its season tonight at home against Central Arkansas. 6:30 kickoff. This one will be on SEC Network. And Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, will be on the call. He will be on there for SEC Network. Alex, I've got high hopes for this season for the Missouri Tigers. I say it that way because last year was high expectations. If they didn't meet those expectations, I was going to be greatly disappointed. This year, it's really hope more than it is expectations because I have so many questions about the quarterback position. I have questions about the left tackle position. They have so much turnover at pass catcher. So it's just a different feel going into the season than it was a year ago. I still think they could be quite good. I'm just not as certain about it as I was last season. And that all begins with the quarterback battle that we saw going throughout camp. Bo Prabula versus Sam Horn. We thought going into this one tonight it was a real competition. And then Eli Drinkwitz announces, hey, Prabula for the first half, Sam Horn for the second half. We're breaking that down via the Callier and Thompson hotline with Aaron Murray, ESPN's college football analyst and former Georgia quarterback. Aaron, thanks so much for the time. Let's start out with the obvious. You're a former quarterback. We'll get your breakdown on this. Mizzou's going with both Prabula and Horn tonight, but they're going to split it by half. What do you read into that with the way that Eli Drinkwitz is handling this quarterback competition?
Yeah, I mean, we had an opportunity to sit down with Eli yesterday and talk it through. And, you know, obviously what he said to media and same thing he said to us is, you know, it's been a quarterback battle. You know, I want to give both these guys an opportunity to play in a live situation. And, you know, I would prefer to have both guys play in the first half. That way you make sure that Sam's getting, you know, reps with the ones. And not saying he's not going to get reps with the ones in the second half, but you know, if this game does get out of hand, he'll probably be working more with the twos and some backups. And not saying he won't have success, but just a little different in the field. You want to go with guys that, hey, if I do win this job, at least I can say I've worked certain routes or concepts and had the communication with the starting offensive line. But you know, he's got to go out there and do his thing in the second half and got to make sure that he stays warm and focused and lasered in. So I'm just honestly interested to see what this offense looks like. You know, the coaching staff said, like, hey, listen, you know, the offense is the same with both guys. We believe in both guys as throwers and obviously as runners and athletes too. But, you know, it's hard to feel like that when you've seen what Bo Prabula did last year at Penn State, how athletic he is. You got Hardy at the running back position. I think this is going to be a really good offensive line. Obviously, you got the Mississippi State transfer at the receiving position, but you know, there are some questions out there on the outside of how good that unit will be. So, you know, at the end of the day, if this is a run-first offense, and once again, like all indications from the coaching staff is Sam is athletic and Sam can run, and don't act like don't think that Sam's just a passer. But still, we've seen Bo run the football, and if this is going to be the identity of the offense and relying on that elite defense to do their thing, you know, to me, everything does feel like it's trending towards Bo eventually getting the job. But, you know, I think he's got to go out there and do his job tonight. If he goes out there in that first half and has a great first half, similar to what Brady Cook did 2 years ago, I was actually on the call for that game too when, you know, there was the quarterback battle between him and Sam Horn. He goes out there and has a game similar to what Brady put. I think it would be hard to not say that Bo won't be the quarterback come next week versus Kansas.
So, as you mentioned, Aaron, it is the biggest question mark. Like when you look at Prabula, if he is going to be the guy, the skill set that people should get excited for, is it the arm? Is it the legs? Is it the dual threat that he has?
Yeah, I would say the dual threat. And this is the same thing we talk about with Sam. I mean, I'm not just labeling Sam just as a passer. I'm not just saying that Bo is only going to get in there and, you know, all of a sudden, Missouri's going to turn into a triple option offense, and it's going to be run. So, you know, he can throw the football. There's no doubt. You saw clips of that last year. You know, will he be as willing to maybe let the ball loose and push the ball vertically down the field? Will you see as many of the explosive plays as you will with, say, a Sam Horn, who may be more of a natural passer? Maybe not. You may see more of the intermediate game. You'll maybe see more of the quarterback run game, the RPOs, things like that, where, you know, it's a very much mentality of ball control. And Missouri was that last year. I mean, they're one of the best teams in the SEC. I believe maybe the best team in the SEC when it came to time of possession. And once again, it goes to leaning on what Drake knows is what is the identity of my team. It's defense. It's playing great defense. It's trusting that defensive line. You obviously love Trotter at the linebacker position from West Virginia, and just hearing the leadership that in the way that he's grown through spring and summer and fall camp. The offensive line. And then, man, you can't get away from the building or from anyone without hearing more and more good things about Hardy and what he can do at the running back position. So yes, like it's not like it's a triple option offense with Bo by any means, but I think you'll see a little bit more conservative, a little bit more running, more passes within 20 yards.
Aaron Murray is our guest here on 101 ESPN. He is ESPN and SEC Network's college football analyst. He'll be on the call for Mizzou versus Central Arkansas tonight. Kickoff for that one at 6:30 on SEC Network. Aaron, you were at Georgia at the same time that I was at Mizzou. As Missouri made the transition from the Big 12 to the SEC. That first year did not go well for Mizzou. I remember when Missouri played against Georgia that season, it was ugly, and you could see the difference between where Missouri was at that point to where a team like Georgia was at. And then 2013, 2014 happens. Missouri wins the division. How has your opinion, if at all, of the Missouri football program evolved from what you thought of them when they first got to the SEC to what they have become now under Eli Drinkwitz?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've become a very consistent football team. It's hard because you look at the SEC, and even someone that covers a lot of the SEC admit this, and I'm sure the outside perception is very the same, is you think SEC, you think Georgia, you think Alabama, you think LSU, you think Florida, obviously now you think Texas, and you throw Oklahoma in there a little bit too. Just there's some big brands and some big blood, blue blood brands inside this conference that have won national championships over the past 15 years. I mean, how many teams have won championships in the SEC over the past 15 years? I mean, Georgia, Alabama's won multiple, LSU, Auburn's won. Florida before that had their run with Tebow. So, it is loaded with top tier brands in this league. So it's hard for anyone to really, kind of jump in and build that consistency, and especially without doing it without winning a championship as well. So, I respect the program. I love Coach Drinkwitz, what he's done. I do agree that there is a lack, and I think that's something we're going to talk a lot about tonight on the broadcast, is there is a lack of respect, not just within the SEC, but I think from the nation for a team that, I think there's, 4 other teams in the country that have less losses than Missouri over the past 2 years, 21-5. It's like Georgia, Ohio State, and drawing a blank on the other 2, but they have been so consistent. They've won their games, and say what you want about their schedule last year, you still got to go out there and perform. You still got to go out there and win, and they did that, obviously, to get to that back-to-back consecutive, double-digit win season. So I think he's done a great job, Eli, of recruiting, especially really within the state. I think he did a really good job this offseason of going into the portal and getting some really good pieces on both sides of the football. And then you look at their schedule again this year, 8 games at home, somewhat favorable schedule when it comes to SEC standards. So, I would not be surprised if we're looking up at the end of the season, it's November, and we're saying, oh, my goodness, like Missouri's going to be right there knocking on the door to 9, if not 10 wins for a third consecutive year for double digits. So I know the over-under is somewhere around 7.5. I'm interested to see what they look like tonight, and obviously it'll be a tough gauge. But if the quarterback position is decent this year, just decent, I don't need it to be like all SEC, but just good, consistent play, I do like the roster that he's amassed. So, hopefully they had that chip on the shoulder all year of, hey, we were ranked the top 25, first time since '84. Since a team that's had double-digit win seasons that wasn't ranked in the next season preseason poll. It's just crazy. But like I said, I love what Eli's done. I think he's a hell of a coach.
Aaron, we've had this conversation a lot on the show. Is this the most wide open college football has felt in a while in terms of just not being that elite go-to team that you assume everybody's chasing?
Yeah, I think that's within the SEC. I think that's within college football. I think it is completely wide open. I mean, I could probably give you 10 to 12 teams that have chances of winning a championship. And if we want to just focus in on just the SEC alone, like there's tiers to the SEC. Obviously you got tier 1 is your Georgia, your Alabama, your Texas. Well, guess what? They all got a ton to replace. They all have brand new quarterbacks that are breaking in. I think Arks is going to be good. I think Gunner's going to be good. We'll see what Alabama and their quarterback's going to look like. But they all haven't really played a lot, so we really don't know. And Texas has a lot to replace on the lines of scrimmage. Georgia has a lot to replace on defense. So like those teams that have the elite recruiting talent, like the most 5 stars and 4 stars, still has a lot of use, a lot of questions, and obviously the big question, the quarterback spot. Well, kind of that next tier, you got LSU, you got South Carolina, you got Florida. You maybe even throw A&M in there. Well, what do they got? They got really good quarterback play, and maybe A&M still some question marks on their quarterback and how maybe elite he will be. But I'll say this: Florida's quarterback, DJ Lagway, is one of the best, if not the most talented quarterbacks I believe in the country. Obviously, I love Garrett Nussmeier and what he's done and the roster he's going to have around him. In South Carolina, and Lenore is an absolute stud at the quarterback position. They should be better around him this season as well. So kind of that tier 2 within the SEC has an opportunity because of their quarterback play to really contend for the SEC. So that's 16, 17 teams right there just within this conference that all have legitimate chances to making it to the SEC championship game, getting into the playoffs. And then obviously you go down the list of the Big 10, the Big 12 is wide open. And I do think the one conference that's not as open is the ACC. I think Clemson is the superior team in that conference. I think they're the best team in the country right now. And obviously they'll have an opportunity to prove that versus LSU on Saturday night. But SEC, Big 10, Big 10 not as much depth, but still like Penn State I think is returning a lot. But can Franklin win it all? Obviously Oregon has a lot of talent. We'll see what their quarterback looks like. Ohio State has a lot to replace. Michigan has a new quarterback, but they're going to be uber talented. So it's going to be a fun year of college football, no doubt about it.
Our producer T-Bone, he's an Illinois fan. He was just waiting. He was waiting, Aaron, for you to mention the Illini.
No. Keep it out, Aaron.
No.
Illinois is my dark horse in the Big Ten. Go back and watch my show. That's my dark horse team, baby.
All right, now T-Bone's happy again. All right, we'll get you out of here on this one, Aaron. Aaron Murray is our guest on 101 ESPN. You mentioned Texas, Arch Manning. He's one of the biggest storylines in college football this season. If his last name was Smith instead of Manning, Aaron, what would the expectations for him be this year?
I'll say this, and I've been very cautious about this whole situation all offseason. It's been driving me crazy that people are like, oh, he's the Heisman favorite, or he's going to be the first big NFL draft next year. I'm like, dude, the tape was good against bad opponents, but it wasn't like anything spectacular. Like, I think he's a really good athlete. I wouldn't say that he's elite arm talent. Going back to what I talked about before with the quarterbacks in this league, like I would put him maybe 4th or 5th in the SEC when it comes to just straight up talent as a quarterback. So, I think he's the most talented quarterback right now in the SEC. The things that he has going for him, and any quarterback at Texas has going for them, and why maybe this warrants obviously some of the hype along with the Manning name is Steve Sarkisian, I believe, is the best play caller in America. If not the best, like top 2 or 3, along with Lane and some others. So he's got an elite play caller on his side. He's got one of the best, if not the best, rosters on his team. So you as a quarterback, if you're good, and I'm not saying like he needs all that to be great, but if you're a good quarterback and you got a great play caller and you got great talent around you, guess what? You're probably going to have a really good year. That's why Lane Kiffin always has great quarterback play. He can scheme guys open. He's going to get good talent and good receivers around his quarterback, and the quarterback's going to put up crazy stats. And the same thing is going to be with Steve Sarkisian during his time as an offense coordinator and head coach. He can find ways to make sure that quarterback has success. So I think because of all that, you should be bullish about any quarterback for Texas. But I will say this: having the Manning name, he's going to be, he's going to be football savvy. You would think that he'd be ready to kind of handle the pressure because he's had to handle the pressure his whole life of living up to the name of Manning. So I'm rooting for him. I really am. I'm hoping he goes out there and has success. I think Texas wins this weekend because he has more experience than Julian Sain, and like I said, I think Ohio State has a lot of areas that they got to still figure out on that football team. But I'm just still more annoyed with, let's just let him walk before we just start crowning him and giving him all these awards. Like, if he at the end of the season he gets there, then great. I'll eat my words. But right now, I think he's a good quarterback in a great situation, and now he's going to go out there and play football.
Hey, Aaron, this has been great, man. Really enjoyed being able to catch up. Looking forward to hearing you on the call tonight for Mizzou versus Central Arkansas. We'll certainly be tuned in for that one, and hopefully we'll talk with you again soon as Missouri goes through their 2025 season.
Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Aaron.
People can catch Aaron Murray, by the way, on the Mac and Murray Show. It's the Mac and Murray College Football Show. Subscribe to that over on YouTube. He's the co-host of that. You can find the link on his Twitter account at Aaron Murray 11. I remember watching Alex as Mizzou first got to the SEC. Georgia was one of the top, no pun intended, dogs in the SEC at that point in time.
Nice.
And that 2012 SEC championship game, I think everybody remembers that. And then you get into 2013, 2014, one of the big moments for Mizzou when I think people realized, oh, wait, this team's not just good. Like, they're a real threat in the SEC East, was when Missouri went to Georgia between the hedges and won that game. That was one of the moments that I was like, whoa, okay, that we've really got something here.
Mm-hmm.
So my Mizzou fandom will forever be tied to Aaron Murray and his experience with the Georgia Bulldogs. I love what he said there about Mizzou because he's high on them, obviously, and I'm a fan of the Missouri Tigers.
No.
But, man, I do like the way that he broke down the quarterback position because he said, hey, you don't have to be great there.
Yeah.
If you're simply average to above average, this is a team that could win 9 games. And that's what I've been saying all offseason about Prabula, Horn, whoever they decide to go with. Man, the bar is not crazy high to clear. Brady Cook, I think, sometimes gets underrated by fans. I think he was unfairly maligned for his performances at Mizzou. But that's me saying he was average to above average. That's the bar. If you get what Brady Cook has been over the last 2 years, I think the talent around the quarterback, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is actually better this year than it was a year ago at Mizzou. People have to remember, Burden was hurt for most of the season, so he wasn't the same guy as he was in 2023. That offense overall wasn't as good as it was in 2023. The offense has a chance to be better this year than it was last year if you get above average quarterback play. And I think the defense is better and much deeper than it was last year. So you get all of that, dude, you could get to, 9 or 10 wins, and I don't think it should be crazy.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm most intrigued with is just kind of how he manages the game, because it does seem like the overall roster is a lot more competent, but you've got to be a great play manager, game manager to push yourself through it. The part that I am also curious with is what Aaron said, that they got a great offensive line, and all I've heard is the concerns on left tackle. So again, it's Central Arkansas, so I'm not going to put too much stock into this, but I'll be interested to see how this offensive line works because of all of the concerns.
Gabe DeArmond always says this, and I think it's a great line. The only thing that you can learn in a game like this is bad. It's very hard to learn positive things. It's very easy to learn negative things in a game like this. If your quarterback is on his back half the time after he's been throwing the football against a team like Central Arkansas, that's a problem, and it signifies you're going to have real issues moving forward with that O-line. If it looks blocked up the entire time, that is just a check mark next to them. You passed the test in week 1. That does not necessarily mean you're going to be good for the full 12 games of the regular season. It just means you were able to do that against Central Arkansas, prove it again against Kansas next week, and then we can talk about, all right, maybe the O-line's going to be fine. But this week, you can only learn bad things, especially about the O-line. If you missed any of our conversation with Aaron Murray of ESPN and SEC Network, you can check it out after the show today, 101ESPN.com and the free 101 ESPN app. Those podcasts are always sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
In 15 minutes, why can the Brewers contend when they have a group of very young players and the Cardinals feel like they're forever away? We'll get into that coming up at 12:30. But next, is Connor McDavid really going to enter this season in a walk year? We'll talk about that next year in BK and Ferrario.
I love Illinois.
I said at the end of June, I had every intention just to take my time with it, and I still feel the same way. Take my time and go through everything, and I have every intention to win in Edmonton. That's my only focus. Maybe next to winning the gold medal with Canada, but it is my intention to win there. But yeah, taking my time, going through it with obviously my family, my agent, everybody involved. So we're going through it slowly.
All right, so that's what it sounded like yesterday. Connor McDavid making it clear, I love Edmonton. I'm just not signing an extension with them right now. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. So, Alex, what do you make of this? This was a big topic of conversation as we got to the end of last season. And everybody kind of thought, all right, well, Edmonton's going to get him signed. Maybe it's a shorter-term deal. There were thoughts of, hey, maybe it's a 2 to 4 year deal instead of being the 8-year full term.
Yeah.
But I think the prevailing thought was this guy's going to re-sign prior to the start of this upcoming season. And then the follow-up question to that was, if he's not going to, do you consider trading him if you're Edmonton and not getting stuck in a spot similar to what Calgary was in with Johnny Gaudreau at the time? They're sticking with him. You have to. It's Connor McDavid.
You're not trading him.
But he appears to be willing to wait this thing out. What do you make of this, Alex?
I think he's I think he's making the right decision. If I'm Connor McDavid, as much as I love Edmonton, my goal as the face of the NHL is to win a Stanley Cup. There's no more of getting to the Stanley Cup and not having enough. You got to win. And not signing a contract extension is basically telling Edmonton, look, I'm not going to re-up with you. Your entire future is based on me. And I'm not re-upping with you unless you put this roster in a position to go out there and win Stanley Cups. And if you want to isolate it and be even more specific, fix my goaltending problem. Like, that's to me what I read into this situation. Connor McDavid doesn't believe this roster is good enough to win a Stanley Cup, and I'm not going to re-up with 8 years of my life until I know that you're putting your best foot forward. Also, I know where this market's headed, and it's headed towards a lot of guys getting paid. So let's see what it looks like, because I'm the best player in the game, and while I see other guys get paid, you're also going to pay me what I'm worth.
What can you do, though, if you're Edmonton?
That's what I'm thinking.
Absolutely nothing.
And that's why I think it's time for the
how
Oilers.
Does this change?
It doesn't. You go out there and you hope that something becomes available to you, because at the start of the season now versus in the middle of the season, opportunities present themselves where teams and goaltenders... Sometimes, I mean...
Almost never. When was the last time that we saw a real, tangible, meaningful change in net in season?
In season, I don't know, but Jacob Markstrom got traded and the conversation started in season and then it happened in the offseason.
They don't have that kind of time.
They don't have the commodity to go acquire one. So if you want my wild off-the-cuff wonderment, they go after Carter Hart. The guy that was suspended from Philly with all of the sexual misconduct with the juniors team.
Allegations, yeah.
Yeah, he's working out in Edmonton. I can see that one happening. But, yeah, you're right. Goalies don't become available. When they do, they cost you a pretty penny, and you don't have the money to go out there and do that.
Vegas traded for one in season, right? A few years ago? Or Colorado. Colorado
did, but it wasn't a
goalie situation.
Earth-shattering one. Yeah. Like, we've also seen guys that struggle, like Tristan Jarry is a great example. Tristan Jarry was awful for Pittsburgh last year. They put him through waivers. Nobody claimed him, but then he came back and he was good for Pittsburgh down the stretch. Those are the opportunities that if something presents itself, Edmonton needs to capitalize on. They need those low-risk chances to find somebody better than Stuart Skinner. But I think Connor McDavid's doing it right. I want to see what the market does, because there's talk right now that Jack Eichel's asking for $15 million from Vegas with his contract extension. Man, if I'm McDavid and Eichel's getting $15 million, then we're talking $19 million, $18 million.
I don't think this has anything to do with money. I mean, if you're Connor McDavid, you're going to get what you're owed, right? Like I think it was Chris Johnson said, like, hey, he can get the max of like 20% of the salary cap. Any team in hockey would give him that. This is, does he think he's going to win? And if you're the Oilers, I mean, you basically are banking on, hey, we really need Stuart Skinner to really get us back over the top. And not just get us over the top, but like get us to the playoffs, play well, and then go win the cup. Otherwise, McDavid's walking. I think things just got a lot more real in Edmonton of, hey, McDavid looks like he's probably going to test free agency next year, because there's nothing that can really change in season tangibly to where if I'm McDavid, that suddenly I'm going to look at the team and go, yeah, we're in a better position than we were when I went into the offseason. If you're McDavid, nothing's changing. I mean, unless something comes out of nowhere that you think really gets you over the hump, You're not going to see that unless the Oilers present a really good plan prior to the offseason starting next year. Once you get to that, like a 3-4 day window where you get a chance to negotiate with your free agents, I think the reality is starting to set in Edmonton. McDavid feels like a guy that's going to walk going into next season.
And what I find even more fascinating with this is, let's flip the page here and take the Edmonton perspective. Man, I know you want to win, but you're going to be an expensive player, and we don't have the draft capital to go out there and acquire this player. So this is what we've got. We just need to make do with it. And you're in a lose-lose situation
Game
here.
of chicken for everybody involved, right? And the only one that has really all the leverage in the world is McDavid.
Yeah.
He's the one that gets to make all of the decisions because, listen, Edmonton wants him back. McDavid could basically name his price. Hey, write a blank check. I'll go ahead and fill out the rest because he can go elsewhere, and they would do exactly that for him. It feels as though this is a situation where, T-Bone, I'm not quite willing to go as far as you are, but if they don't win the Cup this year, I feel like that's the only thing that changes. Like, there's no players that are coming that are going to change the equation here for Edmonton, most likely. This is about, is the team as currently constructed good enough to win the Cup? Because, dude, they've been each of the last 2 years. There's only one other thing that they can accomplish that he has not done just yet. So if you don't win the Cup, he's gone? Wait till you get to the end of the season and they get down 3-2 in a playoff series or 2-1 in a playoff series, and then wait for the noise that is going to be surrounding Edmonton. I think that is maybe the unintended consequence that I don't know if Connor McDavid is thinking about that part of it just yet. This puts more pressure on your teammates. It's not just on you.
Specifically your goaltender, who hasn't been good.
So if you plan to stay, if you really want to stay and you want to give your team the best chance to win, you probably need to resign.
It's not going to happen.
And it makes me wonder, does he have that wandering eye? Is he thinking about, man, I could go to Dallas. I could go to Vegas. I could go to Colorado. And I'd have better situations there than what I currently have in Edmonton. Oh, boy. Yep. This is going to be the underlying story for everything that takes place in the NHL this season. It'll be one of the biggest stories in professional sports. If this guy leaves that team at the age of 28 years old, dude, he could go on to win multiple cups somewhere else.
And what I find so interesting about this is it would be one thing if, like, Draisaitl was a guy that was going to come up at the end of, like, the year as well, and it's, hey, I don't know what this future looks like. Are you going to be able to keep both of us? No, man, Draisaitl's locked up. Bouchard is locked up. They've got the tough part done. They've got the superstars with Connor McDavid, and yet he's questioning the complementary pieces that they have around him. And, like, that's fair. That's a little bit easier to fix than it is the
I think he's questioning whether or not they can win a cup.
He's questioning the goaltending because the only thing that they don't have is goaltending. They had the depth last year.
Even with that, Alex, they've been to the cup each of the last 2 years. This is not a team that's been, like, getting bolted in the first round.
Yeah.
They're getting to the final boss.
But if you're him,
and that final boss is one of the best teams that we've seen in recent memory, man. Everybody loses to Florida. It's not just you.
But if you're
everybody's losing to them.
But if you're him and isolated with the goaltending, like, look at what the last few years have been. Your goaltending's been the reason why you've lost in the playoffs. Skinner wasn't able to make the saves, and you were pulling them. So, like, if you're him, there's one position I need to see you be aggressive with. I need to see that you're willing to commit to go out there, and that's why the speculation was around John Gibson before he was available via trade. That's why the speculation was Jordan Binnington, because they played on Team Canada together. I don't think it's as aggressive as if they lose in the playoffs this year, he's just automatically gone. I think he wants to see what the team decides to do. I can guarantee that this is not going to be an 8-year contract extension. If I'm McDavid, I'm signing 2, 3, maybe 4, because I'm not going to lock up the next 8 years of my career with you and go the opposite direction because you're not spending money.
I figured out why the Blues haven't signed any of their RFAs.
They signed them all, man.
Well, they didn't sign Philip. Bro, I'm talking about
for next year. I was going to say, well, they got everybody locked up, man.
I mean, they're saving.
They're going for McDavid.
Their money. They want to make sure, hey, we've got ultimate flexibility for 2026.
Sorry,
we need to figure out.
You kept Kyrou and you kept Buchnevich. Just $16 million that you needed for it.
I think they're totally fine. I think they can make this happen.
I'd rather have Broberg and Holloway than McDavid.
Because when those two get $16 million, oh, you're full of it.
That is the single dumbest thing you've ever said on this radio station. Yeah. But also, do you believe that?
No.
Okay.
No. I would trade everybody off of this roster minus Robert Thomas and Jordan Binnington and Parayko.
You couldn't trade Kyrou, Thomas, or
let
Buch
him
because
run the
of the
team.
no trade. You couldn't trade.
Yeah, but the problem is if I trade the 3 that I just mentioned, And to get McDavid, McDavid's coming to the same thing as Edmonton. You don't have a goaltender, you don't have good enough defense, and you don't have a secondary superstar with me.
No doubt about it. I do think they could. Like, you could trade Broberg and Holloway back to Edmonton if they were going to do a sign-in trade situation next offseason. That would be the kind of thing that Edmonton would probably want. And then you're able to negotiate the contracts with.
You're talking like a 6-for-1 deal. If that, I mean, it's like everything in your system.
They don't have any leverage.
Well, they don't have any leverage, but I mean,
if you're doing a sign-in trade, he gets to determine where he goes. There's not the same kind of leverage for a team if you're doing a sign-in trade as opposed to like an actual, I get his services for a year right now. He gets to choose where he's going, and then you get whatever I'm willing to offer you. And yeah, it's the exclusive rights negotiating period of time, so that's what makes it worth anything. But, I mean, like, giving up Holloway and Broberg is already way too much just to get those exclusive negotiating rights. It probably saves you $1 million or $2 million per year. That's it. But it also is about the money situation for the Blues, because if you keep those guys on the roster and you have McDavid, you wouldn't be able to make that work money-wise. You'd probably have to send one of them out, and, like, your high-level salaries, they've all got no trade clauses, so you couldn't probably move on from them to go to Edmonton.
Also, McDavid's not going to agree to come to St. Louis just to sign
why not?
a contract. Sorry. I'm born and raised here. I love St. Louis.
Well, Wayne Gretzky did.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky also was best friends with the superstar on that team at the time.
Well, Jordan Bennington is really
They're
tied.
not best friends. They won the Four Nations together.
We said Colton Parayko is the hardest defenseman to go up against.
Also not best friends, but keep going.
He loves Jordan Bennington. They won something together.
They're going to be together at the Olympics this year.
I tell you what, if they win gold,
I wouldn't leave his side.
If they win gold together, I'll start. Or the opposite of that is
probably going to have a really tight relationship this year with Robert Thomas when Thomas is on the team as well. There'll be a 1-2 combo.
Parayko as well.
See?
Or let's start the speculation
Parayko
of
and Benner. They're winning gold with Canada, and then he's going to come win a cup here in St. Louis. Coming up next, why can't the Brewers and the Cardinals be similar? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals fell to the Pirates yesterday 2-1. Game 4 of their 4-game set against Pittsburgh is this afternoon. 1:15 will be first pitch. Miles Michaelis will be on the mound for St. Louis. And the Missouri Tigers kick off their football season tonight as they take on Central Arkansas. Kickoff is at 6:30. The Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alex, quick question. How many Brewers currently have an OPS over 800?
5.
T-Bone?
5 feels aggressive. I'll go 3.
1. It's 1. It's Christian Yelich. His OPS is 815. Now, if you want to include Andrew Vaughn, who's played 40 games for him, he also has an OPS of 891 since going over to the Brewers. Classic Brewers Devils magic. I was waiting for the same to be true, by the way, last night as they got a start from Eric Fetty. I think it was technically a bullpen appearance, but went 4 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 2 walks.
So it doesn't go well still for Fetty.
Yeah.
What I'm learning
only
is
2 earned runs, though.
What I'm learning is Fetty is the problem.
T-Bone's face was my face when I saw
What are
his
you talking
line.
about? We saw that in St. Louis for like a month.
4 1/3, 2 earned runs after
With
giving
8
up
hits?
10 base runners.
Yeah, we saw that a lot with Fetty.
Yeah.
If the
We
Brewers,
called him John Gant.
man, if the Brewers can't fix Fetty, no one can.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm learning Fetty's the problem.
The reason I bring this up is because, I feel like we sometimes fetishize what the Brewers are doing because they're winning so much. And also, if we had this kind of production from their offensive players, we'd be a little disappointed by many of them. But when you have 8 out of your 9 everyday players above league average, most of whom are 15+% above league average, that's the kind of offense I thought the Cardinals were going to boast this year. And yet here we are. Here's Derek Gould on KMOX yesterday.
One thing to look at, guys, and I was looking at this morning, is the Brewers are getting such contributions this year from rookie players. Mm-hmm. And they're in a contending year. And the Cardinals are in a retooling, reset, transition, rebuild year. And what contributions are they getting from rookies?
Right.
That should get every fan going, wait, what? That shows you where the Cardinals are behind the Brewers. Brewers are in a contending year, and they might have the rookie of the year. They might have 3 guys in the conversation for it, or at least looked at. And the Cardinals don't have one.
That's because the Cardinals look at their rookies and say, yeah, you're not an everyday player because we don't have a position for you, so you can't come up. I mean, they had it last year, too, though. Jackson Churio was an impactful player for them on their push for the playoffs. They do it every year where they get a rookie.
You look at the Cardinals' young players this year and what they have contributed offensively. And I'm not just going by age, guys that are early in their careers, right? Mason Wynn, 23 years old, 7% below league average offensively this season. Lars Nootbaar, 27 years old. He's 4th year in the big leagues. He's exactly league average offensively. Victor Scott II, 24 years old, 2nd year up, 23% below league average offensively. Jordan Walker, this is year 3 now? He's 23 years old. He's got a 600 OPS on the season. Alec Burleson's been good. He's a young player, 26 years old. He has an OPS approaching 800, very similar to a lot of the guys on the Brewers side of things, honestly. Isaac Collins for the Brewers, who's been a revelation for them this year. He's been really, really good. He has the exact same OPS plus this season as what Alec Burleson has for the Cardinals. So there's your one-for-one comparison. Nolan Gorman, 745 OPS on the season for the St. Louis Cardinals. Not all that dissimilar from a Bryce Terang for the Brewers. Different in terms of their defensive value and the fact that Bryce Terang also adds 22 stolen bases and whatnot, but offensively similar. Thomas Ajacey, OPS right around 600. There's just not very many success stories of the Cardinals' very young players. Meanwhile, you go over to the Brewers, man, and these are not all former top flight picks or prospects. Bryce Terang, 25 years old, OPS of 777. Joey Ortiz is a glove-first defensive first baseman, but he's been an above-league average player, even though he's not very good offensively. He is, for them, basically what you're getting in the outfield from Victor Scott II this year. You look at Caleb Durbin, OPS of 725. Isaac Collins, OPS about 800. Jackson Chourio, who you mentioned, Alex, OPS of 785. Sam Frelick, 25 years old, OPS of 770, also very good defensively for them in the outfield. You add in Andrew Vaughn, who they traded for and has been very good ever since. Like, they're just getting these contributions from everybody. Some of these guys are waiver claims. Some of them they identified talent in another organization. They traded for him. Caleb Durbin traded for him from the New York Yankees. Andrew Vaughn traded for him in season after he was a disaster for the Chicago White Sox. Isaac Collins, Rule 5 draft. This is where it gets frustrating for the Cardinals, Alex. They say repeatedly, well, we don't have access to that top flight talent the way that many of these other teams do. Neither do the Brewers. Neither did the Cardinals, frankly, when they were having all of their success stories. So I don't know, like, the grand takeaway from this is, man, you got to get to where the Brewers are and then add your flexibility with spending to go even a step beyond where they're at right now. But I think the Brewers are a reminder of just how far the Cardinals have fallen from their perch. They are doing now what you used to do, and you used to do it better because you had more financial might than what the Brewers are able to.
Yeah, the part that has always grown frustrating has been this, we can't bring this player up because we don't have an everyday position for him. We've got to find a role before he can come up. Like, he can't be this piece that's coming in and out, which on part of it I get. Like, you want some reps at the major league level, but if he looks like he can contribute, you run with that. Like, you take that. And then what we've experienced over the last couple of years for the Cardinals of, well, the guy's struggling, so let's send him back to the minors and figure it out. Like, Jackson Chourio, to me, is a perfect example. That guy was awful in the first 2 months of the season last year for Milwaukee. So much so that he was hitting .210 with a .581 OPS. But what did they do? They literally threw him out there every single day. Played 148 games for them last year as a rookie, and by the end of the season, he figured it out and he had confidence.
What was that? The first how many games
That
last
was the
year?
first 50 games. So it was at the beginning of the season all the way to June 1st. He was hitting .210, the .327 slug, .254 on base, and a .581 OPS.
I ask that for a reason. That was the first 58 games of the Brewers season, first 50 games for Jackson Chourio. What do you think their record was?
58 games, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think they were about 500.
I thought they were above it. I thought they were playing pretty well, so I'll say like 6 games above 500.
I'll say right at 500.
35-23, first place in the division, up 6.5 games on second place in the division. That's part of why they're able to do what you're talking about. Because their team around Jackson Chourio was performing, and it allows you the flexibility to bring guys along slowly. In St. Louis, they're bringing guys along, and at the same time, when anything goes awry, they're, 3, 4, 5 games below 500. Dude, we got to find production somewhere. We got to find production. Well, that guy's not performing. Replace him. That's the lowest hanging fruit to be able to replace X, Y, or Z, Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, whoever it may be at any given time. We need to replace him to get production because our other guys aren't hitting. This guy's really not hitting. All right, that's the easiest place for us to be able to improve. The Brewers look at it and say, hey, we can slow play that. He'll just bat ninth in our lineup. We'll figure it out around him. We have other guys that'll make up for his lack of production. The Cardinals don't have that, and so they view it as a necessity to replace it. And that's where things get very difficult. When you're in a situation where you're trying to contend and you're trying to develop these players at the same time, you run into what the Cardinals have tried to do over the last couple of seasons. The Brewers are in a different situation, and it all comes back to the pitching. Because even when their offense wasn't producing last year, they could at least rely on pitching. This is what happens in the NFL, right? T-Bone, you were talking about the Bengals earlier today. Hey, if your offense has an off day, like Burrow just doesn't have it for whatever reason. Defense they're screwed. They got no chance. But if you look at the Steelers, who I don't think are very good going into this season, but over the last few years, they consistently win 10 games, even though their offense sucks, because they prevent the other team from scoring. That's the whole blueprint for the Brewers. They find a way to keep the other team off of the board, keep their offense close, and they do enough of the little things to where, hey, if it's we've given up 2 runs, we can manufacture 3. And we know that's all we're going to need. And so in the second inning, if we get a guy over to second without an out, well, we're moving him over to third and we're driving him in with the next 2 outs. And we only have to do that 2 more times. Boom, we win the game. So this begs the question, and T-Bone asked this before the show today. If you had to choose, would you rather build around position players, like what the Orioles tried to do? This is what the Astros did early. It's what the Cubs, frankly, did whenever they had their tank. Or would you rather build around the pitching, The Brewers have done this. The Mets did this in the mid-2010s. We've seen some teams have these just loaded pitching staffs because they were able to. The Rays have really developed around pitching. Which side of things do you think, Alex, is a better way to build your roster over time?
I would go position players because pitching breaks, and you may think you're in a winning window because of how great your pitching is from top to bottom, but one or two pieces break, and now you're done. I mean, you mentioned the 2010 Mets, and I mean, that was elite stuff, but when things started to break, they crumbled and never really were able to get back. So I'd go position players because like the Cubs did, which I know was only for one World Series, but when they had all the position players, they piecemealed and said, we'll just go spend on pitching to give us a couple of years of success.
Yeah, I get the pitching's fragile. I mean, to me, though, it's the thing that drives a winning organization. I would say I would build around pitching. I mean, like you just mentioned with the Brewers, it allows them to mask up any deficiencies that they may have with their offense for a period of time, like it did early on in the season for Milwaukee. I think pitching is the way that you almost have to build this thing up. You have to almost develop just 3 fire breathers that can come from your rotation. Bullpen-wise, I don't worry too much about that. I don't think you have to develop that. You can do the bullpen churn that we've seen the Cardinals do. You can go out in free agency. It's the rotation that you really got to do it. You've got to be able to bring in guys that when you call them up, that they're able to do like what Mizorowski did at the very beginning, right? Be able to dominate. You got to have swing and miss stuff. It can no longer be the guys that are pitching to contact like the McGreeveys, the Palantes, the Liberators. To me, that is the thing that the Cardinals need to focus on. If you're going to build up the next core, to me, it starts with pitching.
Am I getting a star with the position player side? Because that's the thing. Like, if I'm getting just a bunch of mediocre position players, then I'd rather have the pitching. But if I'm getting a star out of the position player side of things, I can develop my Gunnar Henderson. I think I would take position player side of things because I can find the pitchers in free agency. I just have to be willing to pay for them. That's where it gets tough with the Cardinals. It's like, what are they willing to spend on?
Well, I was going to take the BK response to T-Bone and say, what if the Milwaukee Brewers won?
I was going to say that, but I chose against it.
Well, I'll say it.
The Brewers haven't won anything with that pitching.
Pitching's great, but it doesn't get them done. Like the Astros, although they cheated, had great pitching, but it was Altuve, Correa, Bregman.
Look at the teams that win in the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
You can throw this back in my face the other way, too. Like, the teams that win in the playoffs have both.
Right.
They have 2 stud starters. They have multiple superstars in their lineup. They've got a really good bullpen. Like, they've got it all, right? Otherwise, they're not going to the World Series. But I do think most of the teams that we see that have success in the postseason, they've had some kind of, like, they've pieced together 3 legitimate stars in their lineup. And then they've built around that with supplementary talent. Even the Phillies. Yeah. We give them all the crap in the world for getting rid of all of their prospects. They did keep a couple of them. Like Stott and Bohm have stayed there, and they've been really important pieces for them.
So it's the lefty, right? Suarez, wasn't he an internal growth guy too?
Even look at the Cardinals' lack of success recently when they've been in the playoffs.
Was internal too.
When they've struggled in the playoffs, what were we exiting the playoff game that they lost or the series that they lost saying? Well, your offense went cold. You'd have a pitcher that went out there and dealt for 5 or 6 innings, but your offense had 3 hits. Arenado and Goldschmidt, silent. Before that in 2019, offense, silent. Like, I think you could figure the pitching out. You do need to have somebody that's top tier for you.
No doubt.
You need the pillars on offense so that it can carry you through the postseason.
He's Alex, that's T-Bone, I'm BK. Junk Drawer coming up next. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Here's my question for you, Alex. Would you rather your football team, college football team, play on a Thursday night or a Saturday morning? Like, if you could have the choice throughout the season and you could choose either Thursday night or Saturday at 11 a.m., which one would you rather have?
Thursday night. If I could take a night game, I'd take that any day of the week.
What about if I said Friday night? Because this is what the Big Ten does, right? Because the NFL captures Thursday night starting next week. Would you rather have the Friday night versus the Saturday morning?
Friday night.
I would too.
Night football's so much better. I'm not taking it away because, like, Saturday, I'm super pumped that college football's back. But if you give me an option of Saturday afternoon or Friday night, I'll take Friday night.
I'm with you.
Oh, even if it's like a 2:30 start? Oh, I'd rather have the Saturday game starting at 2:30.
No.
Yeah, I don't mind.
2:30 and
2:30 I
beyond,
could do.
I like the Saturday better because I can plan my entire Saturday around it. I get up in the morning, I get out to Columbia, I
Start
get
by
my
drinking at
tailgating
11.
going. Yeah.
Start your
Get
drinking.
yourself over to CJ's. You
Start
get the
your drinking on
32-ounce
Friday.
cup. It's like
sure,
$6 for a 32-ounce of Boulevard wheat. Oh,
Why can't you start drinking on
Because
Friday
I
at
probably
11?
got to work on Friday.
because I got to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar, Alex, but we are on the
This
air
is a
starting at
job.
11 a.m.
Power through is all I'm saying. Power through.
Well, I have to drive an hour and a half to Columbia.
Or you got to take a day off,
really
and then you're
think
burning
this
a
was
vacation
I like my 2:30 Saturdays. I don't want to get rid of it, but if you're giving me the two options, I love night football, and especially Friday night football to kick off the weekend. Oh, yeah.
I will say, one thing that does suck, like if you are like whether it's 11 a.m. or a 2:30 game, odds are you're not at the best game of that in that time
2:30
slot.
though is the best.
No, what I'm saying is
Typically.
like for Missouri and Illinois fans, odds are you're not the best game, right? You're typically like maybe you're on ESPN, but there's probably a better SEC game on CBS, or I guess they would be technically the prime one now.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Yeah,
I think
2:30 would be the
are-
prime SEC game.
I still think there's a chance there's a better football game going on.
Called Friday Night Lights for a reason, man.
Friday nights, like you are like the only game. So yeah, give me that one.
Yeah, Friday Night Lights, man.
I'd
Football.
rather have.
Also, I don't want to be up by 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Okay, 12 o'clock is about my wake up
what
time.
time do you get
At
up
some
on
point,
Saturdays,
you've
bro?
got to be an
About 12.
adult.
How old
Wait,
are
hey,
you?
you can't say that.
No, I can. I'm up at like 5 a.m.
We
every
all
day.
live our lives differently.
I'm not telling
okay?
you got to be up at 5. Alex is also a sicko. What,
Very true.
What time do you get up on a
So
typical
probably
Saturday?
like anywhere between 11 and 12.
That's
What
absurd,
time
man.
do you go to sleep?
Well, if I'm not playing games with the boys, 2 a.m. If I am, sometimes like 3 to 4
2
o'clock in the
a.m. is
morning.
not playing games with the boys.
Yeah, playing games with the boys could be like 3, 4 in the morning.
Dude, you're.
How
I
old
say
are
this.
you?
26.
I say this with all of the love and respect in
turned
the world.
26.
Grow up, man. Stop sleeping till
I'm
noon.
gonna live my life the way I want.
More power to you.
I only get 5 hours of sleep during the weekdays. Guys claiming you're an adult and all that crap.
I mean, I'm 7 hours into my day by the time you're rolling over.
That's okay.
Somebody
I
on
guess,
the text
man.
line, Tim's offshore bookie said, "Tell me T-Bone doesn't have kids without telling me T-Bone
know.
doesn't have kids."
But Tanner,
Even when I didn't have kids, and listen, I can sleep. I'm more than happy to sleep in on a weekend. Used to be. Now I have a kid. I was like 10 a.m. That was like a late day. You get up
But
at
the
10.
funny part about it all is Tanner still's like, I got trouble sleeping. Well, it's because you sleep till noon and then you take a nap at 5 o'clock and you don't go to bed till 3 a.m.
That's only
Your
on
sleep
weekends.
schedule is so and then you drink 2 pots of coffee by 12 o'clock.
The 636. Alex is up by 6 so that way he can get to the grocery store by 6:30 and avoid all the people.
They don't open at 6:30. Believe me, I've tried. And also, it's very true. 7 a.m. when the Schnucks by me opens up, there's nobody there. It's awesome.
From the 314, how hard does T-Bone rage every night? T-Bone's version of a rage is like
Call of Duty.
couple pours of whiskey, lighting a cigar, reading the paper on the back patio
At noon.
At noon.
and getting some gaming in with the boys. What's the game of choice right now, T-Bone?
What have Rainbow Six Siege has been
Sure.
one. Hell Let Loose, another one. Of
course.
Battlefield 6 when it comes out here soon.
I've heard people like that.
Yeah.
I know nothing about
Call of Duty
it.
kind of sucks. So.
Alex, are you gaming right now?
My gaming is the equivalent of about like 15 minutes when I can sit down when everybody goes to bed and falling asleep in a chair holding the controller. There's no gaming. There used to be gaming. I used to be T-Bone, but that was when I was like 18.
Yeah.
No, you can say grow up. What you're really saying is
Last
I'm
time I really
jealous.
spent
wish I
significant
didn't
time
grow up.
gaming was, I think, like my senior year of high school. Since then, I just
based on our 2-hour our 2-segment conversation yesterday, I wish I could grow the opposite direction.
That'd be great.
I gotta
Fewer obligations.
But
is
still, I was
happening
up on
less than I get
Saturday
to
by
do it.
9 to watch Pokemon and the cartoons that were on.
It is happening less. I get to do it now because stuff keeps coming up on weekends. Now play-by-play is starting for me. Like, I
Adult.
don't get to do it. I know. I got an adult. Like, ugh.
All right,
God
coming
bless
up
you,
in
T-Bone.
15
I
minutes.
should pass on play-by-play gigs at 11 in the morning.
Hey, you
Sorry,
need money
I'm
to
in
live,
bed.
man.
We'll get into Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We'll tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. But next, BT had an interesting comment about Quinn Mathews yesterday on the Fast Lane. We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
If they believed in their heart of hearts, I think that if Quinn Mathews, for example, was ready, I think he'd be here. Like, I really do. So I feel like it's one right now where that is going to be one of the biggest questions is not only what does the rotation look like next year for these guys, but then you fast forward and say, what does the organizational depth look like? Like, who is coming? Who is knocking on the door? Is Quinn Mathews ready?
That was Brad Thompson on the Fast Lane yesterday with Alex and T-Bone on BK. Find that interesting, Alex. If Quinn Mathews was ready, he would be up here already. Well,
Isn't that part of the problem for the Cardinals?
here's my thing. They would know this better than we would, certainly. How do we know if he's ready or not? without seeing him.
That's kind of what I meant by that. Doesn't that play into the conversation we just had about the Milwaukee Brewers of how they view it and say hey, we expect certain things from you and we believe you can do it, so come up and try it. And if you struggle, we're going to work through those issues together and we're going to figure it out.
And you don't want him to come up here and lose all confidence. That would be bad for everybody involved. And if that's part of what they're talking about here, okay, I understand. But he's been much better. Quinn Mathews has. Over his last 5 starts now, he has a 2.7 ERA. The walks are coming back down. He has 9 walks in his past 27 innings. That's more in line with what we saw from him a year ago. And in those 27 innings, Alex, he has 34 strikeouts. The changeup has been a big player for him. The slugging percentage has always been low this year. Same thing for the batting average. It's been the on base that's been a problem because he's walking the world consistently. And with the walks going down, he's getting deeper into games once again. It's not crazy. I mean, he's gone 5 innings, 4 2/3 in his last 2 starts. But, man, I'm seeing something similar from the guys that are up here right now. So what you could do if you really wanted to is when the call-ups are allowed, you bring him up, you start him, then you piggyback him with Matthew Liberatore. And then on another day, you call up Curtis Taylor and you piggyback him with Andre Palante. You say, hey, all of you guys, you get 3 to 4 innings on these days. And the other 3 days are where your bullpen gets the majority of its work. But for right now, for the month of September, we're going to have 1 month where we have 2 days where we're piggybacking this thing to find out what we have in these pitchers. See what you have available to you. Ollie Marmol told reporters a little bit ago, Andre Palante is still going to make his scheduled start on Sunday against the Reds. I think that's the right way to go about it. I said the same thing. There's really nothing that you can do there. The rosters haven't expanded yet. The time that I would potentially make a change is on September 1st. So I get what BT's saying there. If Quinn Mathews was tearing it up, you'd already have him up. I agree. But soon you're going to have the option to call up a guy, maybe make another change into your bullpen. That's when I think they should start looking on this. Starting on September 1st, I think they should really consider Quinn Mathews and or Curtis Taylor from the AAA level.
Yeah, for me, developmental purposes, if you're the Cardinals, you believe he's going to be a piece of your team next season. I don't understand if you think he's not ready, but he's performing well in the minors. Let's see what it looks like. And guess what? Like you mentioned, the main goal is not ruining the player. So if it doesn't look good, well, then you've got things that you can work on with the player. And if it has to go back down to Memphis, then so be it. You go into the offseason with a little bit of a taste of Major League Baseball to know what you're working on towards next season. I just don't like the premise of, well, if they thought he was ready, he'd be here by now, because I don't trust the Cardinals in terms of their evaluation of, and maybe that's unfair for this regime. In past years, I haven't trusted them when they've said, well, he's not ready because we want to work on it more. And then when he gets there, he's still not ready because they waited too long. Maybe they do truly evaluate these guys a little bit better now and they don't think he's ready. But when you look at the performance bases, it's like, why not get a look at it so you know the building blocks that you need to work on for next year?
See, I would keep him in Memphis. I don't think he's ready. I mean, you mentioned his walk numbers over his last 5. Most of those walks have come from his last 3 starts. He has walked 7 in the last 12 innings that he's thrown. So the walk issue has inflated once again. And if that is going to be something that's not something that just gets better once he gets here.
I do wonder, though, if it's helped by the change in the strike zone. The strike zone is slightly different at the AAA level than it is at the big league level. So that could be something to keep in mind.
Maybe, but I don't think it would be this high. That's where I would push back on that. And in the last 3 games, opponents have an 800 OPS against them.
So a lot of that's coming from one game against Charlotte. He did not have a good start against Charlotte, and then in the last 2, it's a 200 average, 275 on base, 589 OPS. He's been fine in his last 2 starts.
I just think this is the kind of pitcher that you don't just call up because you have a major need here at the Major League roster, which is, hey, they do need somebody to piggyback. And if you're going to do it, I think you just do it with Curtis Taylor, because he doesn't play, it has no impact on the Cardinals in the future, I would think.
Unless he does, in which case, cool, lottery ticket that you scratched off and you found something.
Sure. But he doesn't have what I think the ceiling can be for Quinn Mathews.
Agreed. He's also Rule 5 eligible this offseason.
And that's where I am waiting on Quinn Mathews, right? You can put him on the 40-man once you get into next year. I just don't want to see him right now. I think he needs to continue to work on stuff at the AAA level.
Why wouldn't you want to see it for one start?
Because it could be really worse here. It could be awful.
But isn't that answers that you want going into the offseason?
I think he's at the point now where he doesn't necessarily need it because he's still a fairly young starter. I think you can give him one more month. I don't think one start of getting rocked around here at the big league level would give him all the answers that he needs for the offseason. There's going to be things he's going to have to adjust on. And if you're the Cardinals, I think you don't need to rush him. You don't need to bring him up here because you have a desperate need. I think you focus on Curtis Taylor or Aaron Wilkerson, whoever you want of those older guys.
I see no reason to call up Aaron Wilkerson.
I'd rather do Quinn Matthews to
Curtis
see
Taylor.
it
I just don't think Quinn Matthews is the guy you call up right now.
And I don't think you call him up to piggyback him. I think you call him up to start him and then have somebody else piggyback him. You know? Like
you mean be the second guy to come in? Yeah, whoever you're calling up, I think it should be the guy that starts the game. They get their pregame routine going. Like Libby and Palante both have the experience of coming out of the bullpen.
Yes.
I think that's valuable. And if these guys are going to come up, they should be coming up to be the starter.
Treat him as a starter to come up and have that routine so that he starts and gives you what you think you want to see.
On the position player side of things, Denton also tweeted this out, John Denton of Cardinals.com. Victor Scott left for Springfield last night. He will go through a pregame workout routine with the AA club tonight. Scott is scheduled to be in Springfield lineup on Thursday. An MLB return could come as soon as Monday. Let's go ahead and look at a calendar real quick. Monday would be
Labor Day.
September 1st.
They can expand the roster.
Yep. So nobody has to go down. It's smart.
Yeah.
So there's your September call-up. So anybody that was holding out hope on J.J. Weatherholt, I think we can now go ahead and write it in pen. J.J. Weatherholt is not going to be on this roster this year.
Good, he should be.
I feel pretty confident in that at this point in time. They have enough other options. Like Victor Scott's making his way back. Eventually, Brendan Donovan could potentially make his way back. They mentioned earlier today that it sounds like Nolan Arenado could be making his way back as well. They have too many other options that are going to be coming up to the big league club. My bet, as of today, will be that we will not see J.J. Weatherholt in a Cardinals uniform in 2025. And the first time that we could see that would be opening day of 2026. I'm not saying that's the right way to go about it. I'm saying I think that's the way they will go about it. On the pitching side of things, I think it is much more up in the air. I think T-Bone's right. I think they will not be calling up Quinn Mathews. My guess is if somebody gets a call up, it'll be Curtis Taylor. He's 30 years old. He's a former independent league pitcher. He's Rule 5 eligible this offseason. It would be very similar to the Nathan Church thing, where they get a little bit of opportunity here to evaluate what they have with Nathan Church, just as they would potentially with Curtis Taylor. And I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just think that with Quinn Mathews, I would lean more on Alex's side. I do think it's valuable to get some information on him and for him to get that information to find out whether or not his stuff plays at this level and to find out what he needs to change if it doesn't in order to get it to play at the major league level. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get back into the Cardinals. How should they view the year in 2026? Derek Gould had some interesting thoughts on that. We'll get into that in 15 minutes. Believe it or not, coming up next year on 101 ESPN.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never felt I could feel so
Free.
We're flying away on a wing and a prayer.
Who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
And I missed that.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on 101 ESPN.
There's a lot of things that are sung at the Ferrario house. Unfortunately, believe it or not, it's not there.
It's a shame.
You guys watch Danny Go?
Danny Go, I know all of the Spooky Spiders Everywhere song.
Sure.
Or Be Like a Superhero if you'd like that one. We sing an awful lot of Disney music, and I can probably recite every song from the movies Sing 1 and Sing 2.
I'm a big Danny Go family right now.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big Danny Go fan.
He's actually pretty decent.
He's good. He gets their attention, and it's not anything bad for my kids. It's just a lot of exercise.
Yeah.
And they sing the song a lot.
I've really gotten into the Bluestones lately, kind of alt rock. Sound a little bit
You
like
need to
kind of
do-
like the Black Keys, I would say.
You need to do yourself a favor and go back and listen to the music we talked about yesterday. If you're talking about all this alt rock stuff, you need to go back and listen to like 2000s alt rock.
If you're curious what Alex is talking about, go back to the
and
podcast
listen to it.
from
It's literally
12:30 to
labeled
1 o'clock yesterday.
BK
Do
and
yourself a
Ferrario reminisce about their childhood. That's the segment.
I still was receiving messages from friends of that segment yesterday. Like, oh man, you guys need to do that. What took me back to my
multiple
to
texts
my
on that today.
15-year-old days. I'm like, I know. I had a little reminiscing as well.
All right, guys, let's start out with this one. Believe it or not, if J.J. Weatherholt becomes Gunnar Henderson, the Cardinals will be a contender by as early as 2026. Got a text
2026.
yesterday from a buddy who said, guys, look up, or it said, buddy, look up Gunnar Henderson, and then compare it to what we're seeing right now from J.J. Weatherholt, and tell me why J.J. Weatherholt can't become for the Cardinals what Gunnar Henderson is right now for the Orioles. I looked at it. It's more interesting than I would have expected.
I'll believe it because you just need something good to happen for the Cardinals. I haven't really dug into the numbers, so I'll pull it up while we're talking. But, I mean,
Gunnar Henderson's a stud.
the power is what I would say I just don't know if Weatherholt has.
Agreed.
But, I mean, like, I don't think he's a 37 home run hitter, but the 25 home run hitter, 28 home run hitter, that probably doable, which in that sense, yeah.
And Henderson's on the ground quite a bit too, which is something that's quietly happening with Weatherholt down in the minor leagues.
I haven't noticed it. In all seriousness, I haven't.
Well, it was like 2 weeks ago. Maybe the numbers have changed because it is all smaller sample size still with Weatherholt. But, you know, I don't remember who it was. Someone on Twitter released. It was basically a baseball savant of minor leagues. I will say not believe it, though. Even if he does become Henderson, they're still not a contender. They don't have the pitching to be a contender right now. I mean, we can only write in what? 2 guys in pen for their rotation next year, and they're not going to go out and spend on it. So, no, not believe it. It'd be fun, but no.
Yeah.
By the way, it looks like his ground ball rate's fine. It's like 44%.
Okay. So it was a little higher, I think, last time I saw it.
Yeah. I'll say
All right,
not
what a
believe it for
stud.
2026, but this answers a lot of their issues. Gunnar Henderson's a borderline superstar. I do wonder, and we're seeing with the Orioles, you can't just have Gunnar Henderson. You
Yeah.
gotta have more than that.
Like pitching, as they've learned.
Yeah, but Gunnar Henderson would be a hell of a starting point, man. If you have Henderson and Burleson, and if Ivan Herrera takes the next step, and this is really just about his leg issues as opposed to it being something more real, you're starting to construct the middle of the order that you'd expect a contender to look like. Alex, what do you have for us?
Guys, believe it or not, the Blues will have a higher payroll in 2027 than the Cardinals.
What's their
I think not.
Cap in 2027-2028 season will be $113 million.
Yeah, nah, that's a really hard place to get if you're the
We'll
Cardinals.
be coming out of a lockout, though, for the Cardinals, so.
Yeah, technically zero is what we'll be spending. There's no
and
baseball.
then you know they're going to be trying to cut costs everywhere.
Cardinals are at 134 right now.
Take Sonny Gray and Miles Michaelis and Wilson Contreras and Nolan Arenado off that list. Oh,
The
boy,
only
howdy.
Guaranteed deals that they have on the books right now for 2027. That's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
For 2027 are Contreras, a team option, or like a mutual option on Sonny Gray.
Decline.
You'll never believe this, but Nolan Arenado.
Wait, how is that? I thought he only had. Oh yeah, that's 2 years.
I'm going to say believe this. I think the Cardinals will be there, and Tom Stillman will be spending to the salary cap.
You said the number's what? 113?
113.5 mil.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe this because I could see where they try and get down to 25th next year in payroll.
Oh my God.
I mean, they're 19th now. It's not that hard. If I get rid of Sonny Gray, that's $35 million, which will help in this cause. But if you look at who's 25th now in baseball, it's the Cleveland Guardians at 99, and I don't think they're going to go below 100. And their CBT will be higher than that, too. So I would say not believe this. And CBT is what you really got to.
They're financially motivated. Believe it.
T-Bone?
Guys, believe it or not, the Cardinals will have 90 losses 3 years in a row. Starting next year, because they won't get there this year.
So starting next year. So starting this year. Okay, I was going to say. So
they won't get there this year.
Yeah, they're not going to. Well, maybe.
I mean, they'd have to go 0-30. I mean, it would be great for their team.
I was going to say, well, we're already down 1-0, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, Mike doing his part today.
I'm going to say believe this. I don't think you can reshape this roster that quick, so I'll believe this.
I would say not. I think it could be back-to-back 90-loss years. I think the third year's where it'd be tough because they'll start to get some pieces up at the big league level. They may not be a great team, but they could go from 90 to 85, and you start to see the rise back from the ashes.
I wonder how many
like a
teams have
phoenix.
Yes.
At least 90 losses in each of the last 3 seasons.
You did this with 95, and now you're believing 95 losses is possible next year.
No, but
Can I get you at 100?
I'm saying each of the last 3 seasons to have 90 losses. That just seems...
Pittsburgh.
White Sox. Rockies.
Rockies, maybe.
Baltimore.
I'd have to look into this. I can have it at
Washington.
ready to go for the next thing.
Washington, probably.
I'm ready to go for the new Redmond report that'll drop today.
There's the Last Minute Blues podcast out right now up on YouTube and the wherever you get your podcasts from.
I don't want to talk about the 90.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Believe it or not, you guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on 101 ESPN. Believe it or not, a former Cardinals pitcher will be in the World Series this year, whether it be Fetty, Helsley, Matz, or Maton.
Fetty's not going to be on the team by that time.
Yeah, Fetty will not make their playoff roster. I think you can go ahead and count out Phil Maton. I don't think that the Rangers are making it to the postseason. So really you're talking about will the Mets or the Blue Jays make it to the World Series?
Or the Red Sox.
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays have Maton, right?
No, who's the former Cardinal on Blue Jays?
Matz is on the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Oh. This is awkward.
That's what I meant to say.
I'll say believe this one. I'll say believe this one because it's the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox could get there in the AL.
I'm going to say not. Red Sox would be the one I think you got a shot on. Mets, I'm a little worried about.
I don't
their
think
rotation.
the Mets. And their bullpen. Helsley's kind of the reason why.
Yeah. I'm still saying not. You know who I will say will be the former Cardinal that will hurt the Cardinals again, postseason dreams? You've heard of him before. 5 straight seasons, 20 homers, 20 steals. Randy Arozarena. Going to have a huge postseason for the Mariners.
I can see that. I mentioned yesterday, they would be my sleeper pick to make it to the World Series.
Remember when I wanted Logan Gilbert?
Well.
Remember when I said they should trade Goldie for Brian Wu?
Yeah.
And BK said, Brian Wu, you want Brian Wu? He's like a 3.
Remember we had a Mariners guy on? It was like,
exactly my point.
Remember we had the Mariners guy on? He was like, well, if you want to try and get him, you'd have to trade Paul Goldschmidt. And we were all like, no. He just had an MVP season. You can't do that.
Yeah. And then we were talking about Brendan Donovan. And
we are all idiots.
That's true. That is true. All right, believe it or not, both Mizzou and Illinois will win at least 9 games this season.
Illinois for sure.
Illinois is losing to Duke. They're losing on the road at Indiana.
Relax.
They're losing to Ohio State. They're losing on the road at Washington. And I think they'll lose one of their other surprise games. So maybe it's USC. Maybe it's at Wisconsin. They'll go 7-5 or 8-4 this season. So I'm saying not.
That's ridiculous. I'm saying not because of the Tigers. They're going to lose to Kansas. There's probably 3 losses in their SEC schedule.
You guys need to get the hate out of your lives. I'm saying believe it. Both are going to be 9-win teams. No. Let's all just love baseball.
We're not on anxiety medicine, okay?
How about this stat? Cardinals have now been outscored in the first inning in August, 20-2.
Is that real?
I believe that.
Dude, it's almost... They've scored 2 runs in the first inning in August?
It says.
We're like almost to September 1st.
I know.
They don't hit fastballs, remember? Probably see a lot of those in the first inning.
That's really hard. 2 runs in the first inning in a month?
In a month. Well, in 28 days, they still have 3 more games to deal
We
with.
got one more out for this inning.
That's true.
What are their overall numbers in August?
Not good if they're 22 in the first
Their numbers in the first inning is brutal.
No, I'm talking about for
Oh, that's bad
overall.
too.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
They're batting .239 as a team. They're getting on base less than 30% of the time, but if that doesn't tickle your fancy, they're at least slugging .350.
You're a monster.
Yeah, they're one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball this month.
Hell yeah, they are.
You,
Top 5 pick,
What
baby.
would you guess their OPS is in the first inning all season? I saw this on Twitter last night from Cardinal Stats and Facts.
Oh,
In
this
the
is
first inning?
Yeah.
this has got to be like
What would be your guess?
200.
No, OPS.
OPS?
Oh, sorry, OPS.
I was like, if it is, that's horrific.
I'm sorry. Oh,
You're saying this, so it's got to be something that's disappointing. 658.
I'm going to say in the 5, so 540.
623 OPS in the first inning all season. How many home runs do you think they've hit in the first inning this year?
5. It's low.
We've played 130 games, man. It's got to be above.
They've
that.
only hit like what?
I think it's 124, something like that.
And they ain't in the first inning.
It's 10.
7. Meanwhile, so this is their slash line in the first inning this year. Before they got on base this year.
Ooh, got a
232,
chance.
306, 317. That's a 623
317
OPS
slugging percentage
in the
That would
first
be a
inning
bat
this
on
season.
base.
Here's
Be
now.
a great average.
Now, you may think the Cardinals always go up against like Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. The only reason you think that is because here's the pitching's first inning numbers against the season. 291, 344, 513, and 857 OPS with 26 home runs
Against the Cardinals pitching?
in the first inning this year.
The opposing team has a 290 average against you?
And a 344 on base and a 513 slug.
This checks out as to why they've been outscored 20-2 in the month of August in the first inning.
They've
And
given
it
up-
remains 20-2.
64 extra base hits, which doubles their 27.
Now do runners in scoring position in the
Oh,
first
I don't
inning.
have that.
Where do you think
The only
that
reason I have this is because Cardinal Stats
they're
and
not
Facts tweeted
getting
it.
runners into scoring position?
Yeah, they probably aren't.
Maybe they are.
They're batting
How do you know?
230.
How do you know?
Because I'm looking right now at their first inning numbers. How many teams do you think are worse in the first inning than the Cardinals?
1.
I think none.
None. How many teams do you think
Thought
have
the White
a
Sox
lower
would be bad.
slugging percentage in the first inning than the Cardinals?
None.
None.
None. They're 315. To put that into context, second worst is actually the Milwaukee Brewers, believe it or not, in terms of their slugging percentage. The difference is 33 points, which is the same as the difference between the Brewers and the 24th best team in terms of slugging percentage in the first inning.
Look, the Cardinals and the Brewers are the same team. Minus one team wins and the other team doesn't.
So all of this
Well,
brings
their
us to our
pitching's
next
probably not bad.
conversation. How should the Cardinals be viewing 2026 if they're this bad right now? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to tell you about my friends over at Rhino Shield who want to shout out Auto Tech Auto Center, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and many other businesses have used Rhino Shield's work to update the exterior of their home, of their business. Why? Because it's looked worn down. Because after hundreds of years where it's been out there, like this Emmanuel Lutheran Church, you know, it gets the timeliness, it gets the wear and tear onto it, and it looks worn down. But with Rhino Shield's work, it can make it look brand new again. And I've talked about how I use them. You just heard me mention a couple of businesses have used them around the area. Check out the 5-star reviews that are up on Google Plus talking about the excellent service, like this one from Mary. Service we received was outstanding. Appearance of our home after the application of Rhino Shield was beautiful. It looked like we had a brand new home. Everyone that has seen it has asked and told us how new our house looks. So use the proper company when it comes to updating your home or your business, and that's Rhino Shield. It's 100% waterproof. The ceramic coating deflects 90% of the UV rays, and it's all backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. Call Darren today. Tell him Alex Ferrario sent you. 877-25-RHINO, 877-25RHINO.com.
Taryn Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals currently taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates in the fourth and final game of their four-game set, and they trail 1-0 to Pittsburgh in the top of the second inning. Miles Michaelis is on the mound for St. Louis. We'll keep you updated on the Cardinals game throughout the day today here on 101 ESPN. And Missouri kicks off their season tonight. 6:30 will be kickoff when they take on Central Arkansas. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Lars Nootbaar went 11 for 21 over a career-best five-game multi-hit game streak from August 27th to the 21st. He is 0 for 19 since then.
The future.
This team, man.
Remember when you wanted to give a big contract extension to Lars Nootbaar? You were like, lock him up.
No, I said if he continues to play the way that he has, he's going to cost you $100 million. He hasn't
Lock him
played
up.
that way any longer.
Well, now he won't.
So,
And
the Cardinals were right.
And the Cardinals will still say, well, you know what? We really didn't get all the answers that we needed from Lars Nootbaar this
Run
season.
it back next year.
I think they will run it back next year without Sonny Gray and without Nolan Arenado.
I'm going to say something kind real quick. I'm going to look at you, Alex, because I don't want to look at Tanner when I say it. I give Tanner a lot of crap, and he's most of the time wrong about things.
95%.
But
Could have looked at me at that part at least.
This is kind, right?
he's very correct on the way that he approaches contract extensions. Giving them out very rarely is probably the right way to go about it. We would have been very wrong about Tyler O'Neill and Lars Nootbaar, and we would definitely regret both of those. All right.
You probably regret the Bader one, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were the one that
I
wanted to
actually
give
would
the
not
Bader
regret
one.
the Bader one.
I would absolutely regret the Bader one.
It was $10 million a year. He's still getting that in free agency right now. So you could trade him if you wanted to. He's still getting traded from other teams with this $10 million a year contract. Did Tommy Pham just hit a home run?
No, it was the last one. Busch Stadium looks like there's a pandemic still.
I was curious. What do you think the attendance is going to be announced
For this
today?
one?
I'm going 15.
Oh,
What?
below that.
They were at 18 the other game.
Yeah, but that was a night game.
Oh, I guess that's right.
What do you...
This is a day game.
I reacted unfairly there.
Yeah.
I say below 15, 12.
I think it'll be like 15-5 would be my guess.
Last night it was 19-8.
Previous night, I think it was 18-6.
That's standing room only at Enterprise Center.
18-6.
Oh, God.
And game one on Monday night, what was it, 17-6? Is that right? Yeah, 17-6.
You know what always cracks me up, and maybe this is just personal preference for people that go to games, but like when they pan through the stadium and there's all these empty seats, and you see these just two random people sitting all the way towards the top. Like, come on, man.
Well,
they've got the overhang.
Well, I guess. Right? Maybe that's it. But it's like, yeah, come on. You can walk down to these seats.
And in this series, there was a guy that he clearly bought the standing room only tickets because he's standing in one of those areas. And he's a Pirates fan. He's caught home runs over there. Like, maybe he's just in the perfect spot.
Maybe that's on me.
You can take a seat, I promise. There's nobody in front of you.
You're not going to miss anything.
Do you think there will be more people at today's game or next week's game against the A's on Monday afternoon for Labor Day? Labor Day, right?
No. I don't
More
think
people for Labor Day?
More announced attendance for Labor Day or today?
I just don't think
would
people.
think today.
I think people go on vacations
Excuse
for
me, I would
Labor
think
Day.
for Labor Day.
I think people try and go away for Labor Day. It's still nice weather. It's in the middle of it's the start of school. You want to still go spend time with family. I think it's going to be today.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's the A's and it's Labor Day. No freaking way.
I mean, that was a bad combo, even if the Cardinals were good.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think it's probably the day there's going to be
Plus,
more.
it's going to be like 78 degrees outside.
Great.
Yeah, but
Not to
not
watch
for
that.
that.
I might
To go
to
do
the game.
something else.
I honestly might go to that game with Luca.
Don't do that to
Well,
Luka.
you and
What do you mean?
you
Bring
and
Luka
to a park.
You and 9,000 other people will be there probably.
I bet you I could get some cheap tickets. Let's see what
I
I can
bet
do.
you could. I'm not questioning if there are going to be cheap tickets available.
Game for the A's.
$15.
Oh, dude, $19.
Get the green seats. Come on.
Yeah.
I could get them for $19.
Buck up.
Bucks.
Get the green
Yeah.
seats.
I could get
And then
green
buy
seats.
everyone around you a free beer.
$250 for green seats right now.
Oh, actually, hey, you want to do that?
T-Bone's suddenly interested.
They were going for like $3.15
the
the
A's,
other
man.
night. I've always wanted to experience the green seats.
I actually have too. I've never experienced the green seats.
BK and Ferrario to the green seats.
I'll try it again next year. It's Labor Day, man.
They could be good next year, and they won't be that cheap.
Not early on, and we know they won't. 2030 is when those tickets are going to be too expensive for me.
Tickets are cheaper for that Tuesday night game and Wednesday night. I think you guys are underselling the draw for a Monday day game on Labor Day.
I don't think I am.
I think if I'm in most people's shoes and I have two options in front of me, I can go enjoy the weather on Labor Day or go sit at a Cardinals game and waste 3 hours.
What are you saying? Because like if I'm wrong, like there's more there than there is here. Because I think this is going to be a low number. Are you like thinking like more than 20 or what do you?
And you're going announced attendance, right? Not through the.
I think around 20 for that game against the A's.
There's no way.
The reason why I'm asking really like what I'm trying to get to here, and we took 4.5 minutes to get here. I think today will be the low point for attendance this year. A day game against the Pirates on a Thursday during the school year when you're completely out of it. The rest of the way, you've got the Giants, the Reds, and the Milwaukee Brewers. Maybe that Wednesday day game against Cincinnati.
Or the Sunday afternoon, Sunday, September 21st against Milwaukee. Sundays draw more, fine, but you've got
the final home game. I think some people will go just to see the final game of the year, of the regular season.
I don't know why. Or maybe even September 7th, a 1:15 Sunday game. I know they draw more, but Sunday you're getting into football season.
Yeah, but I think the weekday games are the ones that are the issue for the Cardinals, generally speaking, especially during the school year.
I just don't think this is going to be the low point. I think in September there's more things that people have going on that they're not going to take time out of their schedule to go to a baseball game for this team. Now, if this was the Rockies, I disagree with you. They always have the same amount of attendance.
Somebody from the text line said, "Hey, BK, you can have my season tickets. I'm in the bleachers on Monday. Had them up there for a week on SeatGeek. Nobody will buy them." Hey, hit me up on Twitter. Send me a DM. I'd be happy to talk about it.
You poor
Send me
guy.
a tweet. I'll DM you, and we'll get that taken care of. I would absolutely love that. That sounds great. If you've got 3 tickets, we're good to go.
If it's a night game, then talk to me. Maybe I'll go with you, but not a day game.
You really wouldn't?
Not
Even though it's beautiful
Not on
weather?
Labor Day. No.
Really?
No. My kids are off. I got
Grab
nothing
some
going
beers
on.
together, man. We could go over to Four Hands beforehand, walk down.
I don't want to walk anywhere with you, man.
Cheap parking over at Four Hands, and then you walk down. You get some good beers beforehand. Walk over to the game.
Yeah, but it's Labor Day. I'd rather spend it with my family.
Yeah, you can bring the family.
You're going to bring all my whole family.
Yeah, man.
I'm bringing all of them.
That's fine.
My wife and 3
We'll go
kids.
up to the Budweiser Terrace. We'll hang out up there.
Hey, if you're buying,
on the seat.
Just quickly losing its luster for me.
I was going to say,
it's
if you're
a lot
buying
of kids
in,
running around.
I'll tell you, my kids, whew.
Sunday is free ice cream at Busch Stadium, according to the 314. I
what-
can't confirm that, but if that's true, we might be going on Sunday. instead.
That's
might be
what my
worth
kid
it.
needs, a sugar high in the middle of a Cardinals game when she's
Yeah.
bored out of her mind.
How could she be bored? Our pitching's going to give up a lot of runs.
Well, that's
There's
true.
going to be
From
action.
the 636, last game of the season comes with a ticket for next year. Is that a threat or a promise?
Also, if I go with you, I leave by the 5th inning.
That's okay. I saw Rock left early, or our old friend Rockio left early.
Really? He had green seats
Yeah,
yesterday.
he left early.
Of course,
Are you
I'm calling him
serious?
out on air. Yeah, I saw
course he
the
did.
8th
If you
inning.
have green seats, you can't leave
No.
early. The whole value of the
It was
green
like-
seats is
I
that
think
you
it was
get
the-
the food and the drink that comes along
Exactly.
with it.
It was. I think it was
Got to
like
beat traffic, though,
top
right?
of the 8th or bottom of the 8th inning, and there was
Oh,
no
well,
more
at that
Rockio.
point, they're no longer selling beer, so that makes sense.
No, you're in the green seats for crying out loud.
Also, it was a close game yesterday. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
seriously.
it was a
Anything, but it's
nail
close.
biter.
All right, we'll hit the rewind next here on 101 ESPN.
Oh, God.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN.
T-Bone just got, our BK just got tickets to go to the Labor Day game.
Yeah, shout out to Katie Woo's burner.
Oh, Katie Woo's burner is now an account?
Yep. They're handing me some tickets to next Monday's
Somebody
game
made a great point during the commercial break. T-Bone won't be awake for that game to go with you. So
yeah, it's a 1:15 start, so it's a little early.
Yeah, I'll record the game and
T-Bone will be
start it.
rolling over right when that one's first pitch.
So anyways, Cardinals in action right now. They're down 1-0 because it was the first inning. They don't score. The other team does. That's the way that it's gone in the month of August. If you're curious, hey, so Cardinals have been pretty bad lately. How are they doing on the draft situation here? Like, where are they at on the draft order? As of today, they're up to 9th. Really
Suck
proud
hard
of
for
them. They've done a
Bedard.
good job. If they lose today, they will be just a game and a half back of the Sacramento Athletics, which is really nice work by them. They will be tied with the Tampa Bay Rays for the 8th best odds to win the lottery. Just a couple games back of Miami, a few games back of Atlanta. I mean, we're really starting to see the Cardinals rise up the ranks here.
September is loaded up with games that scream the Cardinals get their butts kicked. So could be talking about a top 5 pick once again, which would be great for the Cardinals.
Thank God we have football.
Oh, my
Football is
God.
back for us this evening. The Missouri Tigers in action against the Central Arkansas Bears. What's their mascot's name?
You just said it, the Bears.
No, they are the Bears. What is their the Central Arkansas mascot? His name is what?
Wasn't it
It's
something
D-Bear. Something D-Bear.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember what the
I
first one
assumed
was.
you would have remembered.
No, it's not worth me remembering. There's only so much space up here that some gets distributed.
That's fair. What are you looking for tonight? Because Missouri's a 36.5 point favorite. If this game is close, something has gone horribly awry, and our lead tomorrow will be, oh my God, is this team going to be bad? But nobody expects that. Vegas doesn't expect that. What are you watching for within them kicking the you-know-what out of Central Arkansas?
I mean, I'm watching for that big picture-wise, like a blowout in this one, but specifically I'm looking for this game to already be out of hand in the first half. Because if it's tight in the first half, and mostly I guess you're going to be watching for Beulah and how he works here. Do you get off to a fast start? Do you manage the game and the offense properly? And can you get in front and just start beating Central Arkansas up early? Because that's really what you're going to be judging this by. You're watching the quarterback play, and you're watching how good the offense can be and how fast the offense can be. And it's only the first half. Because if it's in the second half, well, you're already concerned, and there's really no judgment on Sam Horn by that time.
Yeah, outside the quarterback, 2 things that I've got my eye on. One will be the offensive line play because they have been doing some shuffling of it. And you shouldn't really take away anything from that. And you're spot on. If we have something on that coming into tomorrow, then there are going to be serious concerns for Mizzou if the O-line is a question mark and doesn't look dominant against Central Arkansas. And then the other one for me is you keep telling me that this defense is really good. I will be curious to see how much they dominate tonight because last year when you go back to what they did against Murray State, they allowed 85 total yards in that game, and it was a dominating performance.
Did they have 2 pick sixes in that game? They had one.
At least
they had one.
I think
Just
Carnell
one.
had one.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Dalen Carnell who had one in that game?
Let's see. I got to pull up the
I think
box
he's like
score.
1 away from the program record, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has had 3 so far in his Mizzou career.
That will be the thing that I'm keeping an eye on is, okay, what does it look like? It was Pride that had the interception.
Okay, Toriano Pride.
That's one thing for me. How dominant does this defense look?
And then the next week against Buffalo, they only allowed 169 yards, 9 first downs, 1 for 12 on third down, and they did not score a point. So the first 2 weeks last year, Mizzou had a very good defense on the season. We saw that. And in the first couple of weeks, they did not allow a point. Meanwhile, you go back to, I can't remember which year it was. It might have been like 2017, 2016, something like that.
Or they choked the first game.
They gave up 43 points against Missouri State.
Yeah, that's what it was.
At home. It was like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen this year, but this is not a good sign. If you're giving up 43 to Missouri State, you've got some serious problems.
That was the Barry Odom era still, wasn't it? Remember Barry Odom, that was the defensive mindset.
It was so bad, man. So,
that was brutal.
I'm with T-Bone. Earlier today, a guy by the name of Matt Miller, who does really excellent NFL draft work for ESPN, he put out the guys that he's watching today that are the highest ranked prospects in his regard. The number 1 prospect, according to him, is a tackle for Boise State, but then 2 is Damon Wilson, an edge rusher for Mizzou. 3 is Zion Young, an edge rusher for Mizzou. And then 5 is Caden Green, offensive lineman for Mizzou. I want to see the defensive line look dominant. You should overpower an offensive line from Central Arkansas, if you have a defensive line that's as good as Missouri has been suggesting all offseason. So I want to see the defensive line. T-Bone mentioned the O-line. You mentioned the obvious, Alex, in the quarterback situation. Those are probably the 3 spots I'm most curious about. We'll get some answers on what those positions are going to look like with their game tonight against Central Arkansas. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app. When you go there, you'll see our interview with Aaron Murray, who will be on the call tonight for Mizzou versus Central Arkansas on SEC Network. That podcast is always sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
Over on the 101 ESPN app or on the YouTube page, you can find Alex's Last Minute Blues podcast. You will find the Redbird Report later on this afternoon as well. We'll have a fresh Redbird Report up sometime around like 5, 6 o'clock for you guys this evening. So be sure to check that out as well.
You should probably delay it, though, to find out what happens in this Cardinals game before you record.
That is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Well,
Alex,
break that one down.
What grade would you give today's show?
8.3.
T-Bone?
I'll go 8.1.
Given what we had content-wise, I'm going to go a 9.1. I think it was a pretty good show
Yesterday was the 9s. Today is not a 9.
Alex, you were very good. T-Bone, you were solid, and I would say I was above average.
Adequate.
Adequate, if nothing else.
Yeah.
For Alex
Just
and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Opening up with the Missouri Tigers here on 101 ESPN Fast Lanes next.